This one here that we're gonna play is like stupid new, alright? Just stupid new. We're just gonna play it because what the hell, why not, right?
Right.
You guys wanna hear a stupid ass new song, right?
Yeah.
Cool. It's a little different, but it's fun.
Hey. Yeah.
Last night, there's something I had seen, something that I wish that I could erase from deep within my memory. When I saw you in my dreams,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. We could be. We might be. We appear to be. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, children of appropriate ages and everything in between, to the kickoff of season 4 of the I'm No Joe channel here. Originally, we were going to be here last night for an episode of the Joe Liminaries because we have got an absolute mountain of news and fight announcements that have come out since the last time we saw you wonderful folks, all the way back in the tail end of 2020. We are now successfully into 2021, and as such, we are kicking off season 4. And what better way, what more of an I'm No Joe way to kick off season 4 than by fucking up our first show and coming in you hot with the second show. We're here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages. God damn it, we are back to do the damn thing in 2021. So first and foremost, if you are new to the I'm No Joe YouTube channel, welcome. And thank you for stumbling your way into our little corner of the internet. Normally, we do not start this early on a Thursday night, on any night, really. But seeing as how we did not get last night's show in, and we've got so much to cover, I did want to kick off a little bit early this evening. But that being said, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel, for all of you new folks, how this generally approximately works is Wednesday nights, provided there's enough, there will be a show called the Joe Liminaries. This is our news show. This is where I give you all the news, the recent events, the fight announcements, and all the crazy shit news-wise that has come about since the last time we have seen you fine folks. Thursday nights, just like tonight, we have this thing that we call the I'm No Joe podcast. This is your home for all things punchy kicky. This is the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. This is where we give you our full breakdowns for events and the matches that we think are going to be the most outstanding, the breakdowns of styles, how we think things are going to match up fight-wise, and how we think it's going to go down. And we kind of give you our predictions. Live. The next thing that you will generally see after a Thursday night I'm No Joe podcast will be a new feature exclusive for season 4. We will now be dropping either Friday nights or Saturdays, depending on how they fare. We're going to try this week's on Saturday. We have got a series. I'm not even sure really what we're going to call it yet. We're still kicking around a name, but it's going to be a shorter series. We use a lot of terminology. That's kind of, I guess you could look at it as like insider terms, kind of in the know, the niche cool kids all kind of get it. But your average everyday Joe, live, might not realize all the intricacies or the little slang that we use. So we're going to start a short clip series that we're going to release on the weekends. Patreon first. These clips will be going to Patreon first, and then the following week they will come to regular YouTube for all of you wonderful fine folks. That way, the people who support the channel get first access to all the new shit. But these are going to be kind of a breakdown, a little bit of a terminology explanation, kind of the reason that we use the slang terms like that so easily. We're going to try and make it a little bit easier for everybody else to understand. Now, after that will come the Sunday night, what did I say? Show. This is our recap show. This is where I and whoever else is available on the weekends will come back to you fine folks for just a shorter show Sunday evenings to kind of recap the events that we did the I'm No Joe podcast for, give you the rundown of how the matches that we thought were going to be great actually played out, and kind of hold ourselves accountable for all the shit that we talked on the I'm No Joe show. And we talk a lot of shit on the I'm No Joe show, but we also like to hold ourselves accountable for our predictions. So that way it's not just, making a random pick. We kind of tell you why we're picking who we are and what we think was going to play out. And then Sundays we come back and I hold our feet to the damn fire for it. If we're completely off, hey, that's where you're going to find out for sure. If we were right, there's going to be a little bit of a horn tooting. And so just be ready for that. But we also knew for season 4, we started kind of in the tail end of season 3 in a beta test, if you will, but we are going full steam ahead here on season 4. We now have, as you can see down in the lower third here, scrolling across the screen, a Discord server for I'm No Joe. Right now we have got kind of a little bit of a mixed bag over there. We got our general just shit talking conversation channel. We have got kind of a fight newsy channel where I drop things that might not necessarily be important or verified enough to make it to the news segment for the show, kind of little smaller news crumbs, if you will. We also have a Just Jits corner over there because we do follow a lot of jujitsu around here. And again, not all of it makes it to the show. The other thing, the pride and joy that I have put together here in that Discord server, one of the main reasons I wanted to get the Discord server is because we have now set up a channel for viewer questions. If you have a fight that you think should be made and hasn't been, if you think something is going on in the sports world that isn't getting enough coverage, vice versa. If you think there isn't something happening in the sports world that maybe something should be injected or interjected into the league, throw it down in there. We get enough questions, enough comments, enough feedback in that viewer question section, and we're going to give our own little devotee here area, section, chunk. We get a lot of questions real fast. We're going to give it its own independent show. We get just a couple questions here and there. We might throw a little segment into the tail end of the shows to kind of work those in. We'll see how it goes. It's just a nice little way for us to interact easier than having to catch these live shows, because I know I've got a lot of you lovely fans, and I do genuinely appreciate you that are all across the world. And I know as late as we kick this shit off here in US Central Time, that a lot of my friends over in Europe, my UK friends, specifically my Spain friends, my Welsh friends, my Scottish friends, I know you guys are snoozing and you are catching this shit on replay, and I appreciate you catching the replay, but I do want you guys to be able to try and get in on some of this stuff as well. So I feel like with the interaction of that, with the question channel, kind of makes it a little easier to get a little bit of conversation going without having to play the comment game on the channel. That being said, I am the one they call the meter. With me most times is my combat compatriot, Golf T Vapes. He is the one who runs the Cloudy Bunker, the show on Wednesday nights, where you will find most of us from the vaping community just kind of getting into all kinds of shenanigans after the Joe Luminaries get done. As well as the Golf T himself. I generally have the freshest guest a man could ask for, Mr. Fresh 03 himself, come through and help give some of these breakdowns, give some opinions. And then we've got this new kid that, for the life of me, just can't get his face to fill in no matter how much Rogaine he splashes on. But we let him keep coming around anyway. I mean, it gets me copyright strikes for being a minor, but we let him in anyway. He's all right. This kid RJ comes around as well. But we generally have a fairly eclectic group to give opinions. We've got a wide variety of experiences and ranges of knowledge in the sport of folks that we get back and forth with. So it's not generally just me. Like I said, we did kick off a little bit early this evening, but that being said, I wanted to give you guys kind of a little breakdown of how season 4 is looking going forward here. If you haven't noticed, we're kind of everywhere online. If you enjoy what you see from the I'm No Joe podcast, you can catch us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook at I'm No Joe. We're on Instagram at I'm No Joe. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also catch us Instagram influencer level facial remove all audio format, anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. That will take you to your podcast consumption level of choice. No matter where you watch it, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you want to get it, we are there as well in all audio formats. If you are listening to this and you already know, you can catch the video version over on YouTube at I'm No Joe. And if you enjoy the shenanigans that we get up to, either way, audio or video, you can support what we do around here at patreon.com/I'm No Joe. gives you, sorry, like I said, live, gives you access to behind the scenes shit, new first access to some of the newer stuff that we're working on. Also gives you access to things that are unaired, and some even say unairable, things that won't go on regular YouTube. They're Patreon only. You can only get access to those things by becoming a patron. We've got levels down as low as $1. So we appreciate any support. That being said, let's jump into this here. Let me get a little drink so I don't get too parched, and we will kick this off. We will start with some of the small mountain of news. Now, to be fair, we've got a good chunk of news, but I have got a page and a half of fight announcements, so we'll get into it. That being said, also do want to take a moment to thank Mr. Adam Pilarchik and Eddie and the Arsons for our opening and closing tunes. Every song you hear on my channel will be from either Adam's independent work or Eddie and the Arsons, or one of the two's combination. Credit given in the beginning. I am giving credit auditorily now so the people in Brazil can go fuck themselves instead of trying to copyright every video I put out. Also, it is down in the description, and there will be a disclaimer at the end of the video, but just wanted to make sure all bases were covered. Props to our musical homeboy, Mr. Adam. Okay, so let us dive in to this mountain of news here. Right out the top, I'm going to start with some fucked up shit, because there's some fucked up shit that needs to be talked about. A gentleman by the name of Erwin Rivera, a 135-pound fighter from the UFC, was arrested on attempted murder charges over 2 weeks ago. I think it's 2 weeks ago now, for stabbing both of his sisters nearly to death. When arrested, he told the police that he was told by a higher power that it was his purpose in life to kill his sisters. The following day, after the story broke, his sisters made a press release and said that they support their brother and that they understand that this is just a lapse in mental acuity, that he is having some difficulty right now, and they still stand by him. So there is that. I guess that is good for the family's sake of it, but holy shit, that actually does play pretty well into Mr. Fisher's story that has come out in the last week, talking about his difficulty in mental issues. Stephen Fisher was actually one of the earliest badasses in the 155-pound division. Actually ended up getting his career cut short because a pre-fight medical scan found lesions in his brain. He is having a very rough go of it right now. But this kind of plays directly into that story. There's definitely an issue with some guys who don't take enough care, who go too hard, who get into too many gym wars, which is where a lot of the mental issues come from. But this is a story that I haven't even heard crack mainstream news. To be fair, the last couple weeks in general, mainstream regular TV news have had quite a bit going on under themselves anyway. So I do kind of understand why stories like this might not make it in on the front page. But I mean, there's just been no coverage of that at all that I have seen. So it's one of those things that I did want to mention here. Next thing I want to talk about real quick. We actually kind of speculated about this, and we wondered a little bit right before it happened, and even kind of in the moment, if you watch the actual weigh-ins and the walkouts and stuff. But we did get confirmation last week that both Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. completed their post-fight sample, I guess it would be called, sample giving. Results have completely, I don't know why I keep wanting to say completely. Results have come in and shown that both fighters were clean. No steroids, no supplements, no contaminants, no performance enhancers of any kind from either gentleman. So the performance we saw was genuine, aside from the fact that Mike Tyson said that he smoked a joint on the way to the ring, which, you know, hey, do you, Mike? It wasn't a sanctioned bout. It was an exhibition match, so you can do shit like that. But, you know, we'll see where that goes from there. Damn allergies. Coming off of that, we found out that Jordan Espinoza has got himself a ticket to the Backstreet reunion. for those of you who are new as well, we refer to the Rona as the Backstreet Boys reunion, because if you say the full Rona and you are not attached to a charity or nonprofit organization with your channel, your video automatically gets pulled down and demonetized and a possible strike put against you. So we just refer to it as the Backstreet Boys. So anytime you hear us say someone has gotten a ticket to the Backstreet Boys or someone has gotten themselves a trip to the reunion, we're referencing El Rona without trying to get the channel hit, because we've been there. So turns out Mr. Espinoza has got himself a ticket, and his fight with Tim Elliott did not get scrapped. They actually just moved it. They postponed it. They actually, for some fucking reason, decided that this fight is so important, they're going to move it to UFC 259 on March 6th. So I don't think that fight is in any way stretch of the imagination pay-per-view worthy, even prelim. That is absolutely a fight night kind of fight, but UFC is doing all kinds of crazy shit these days. Speaking of the crazy shit the UFC is doing these days, we found out that Anthony Pettis decided he was going to try free agency rather than sign back with the UFC when his contract ended. Has officially signed with the PFL for the 155-pound weight class starting in the 2021 season. That is also where Rory McDonald has made his way to now that he left Bellator. There was some speculation he was going to go in for 170, but we get it. See, live. We did get confirmation that both Rory and Anthony Pettis will now be in the 155-pound division over in PFL for the 2021 season. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out and see if those two end up getting matched up early or if they end up waiting the whole season out before they run into each other. But there's very little doubt in my mind that those two are going to meet at some point unless flukes happen and one or both of them get taken out early, which odds are pretty unlikely on that happening. That being said, speaking of people making moves between organizations here, we did get word that the Cage Warriors champ, the 155 and 175, 155 and 170 pound lightweight, welterweight, both division champion belt holder Mason Jones is going to be making his debut against Mike Davis coming up on the January 20th card. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when it gets a little bit closer. Next thing I want to mention real quick here. It's kind of almost a running joke at this point, but credit where credit is due for leaning into it. Scott Coker said that he would be more than happy to make the Dylan Dennis and Jake Paul matchup in boxing, with the exception, or with the stipulation rather, that Jake Paul has to come fight Dylan Dennis in MMA. He would absolutely let Dylan Dennis go over to boxing, but only on the conditions that Jake Paul comes back and steps in the fucking octagon and goes full contact. In that situation, I would absolutely be okay with that, but I have a very sneaky suspicion that there would always be some way or some excuse, and Jake Paul would find a method to weasel out of actually having to get in the cage with Dylan. I feel like it would be fairly competitive in the actual boxing world, but I feel like Jake Paul is too, well, let me stop before I finish that sentence. The people around Jake Paul are too clever to let him get into a cage with an actual professional fighter when he could keep MMA fighters in the boxing world where they're still experienced but not professional in that level. That's why he's been fighting athletes who aren't boxers. So I don't like that the Paul brothers are trying to inject themselves into the sports world like there's something, and they're not. But I feel like if they're going to try to legitimize themselves, which they seem to be wanting to do, actually going through with an MMA match to follow up after a boxing match would be a damn good way to start it. I just feel like as weaselly as Jake Paul is, he would find a way to not have to actually climb in the cage, which is kind of bullshit and would really defeat the whole purpose competition wise, but that's the kind of shit stunt the Paul brothers pull. So we'll see what actually comes to fruition, if anything actually does. I highly doubt it, but we'll see. You never know. Stranger matches have happened. Moving on from there. We did get confirmation that starting with this first pay-per-view of 2021, UFC 257 on the 23rd, ESPN has officially raised the price on pay-per-views again, another $5. I don't get that. I don't get that, especially at a time when they're not making money from the actual seats, the fans being there. I get that more people would generally be watching at home, but raising the price on it is going to really drive up the people going for those excuse me, those illegal streams that Dana seems so concerned about, who he said he's got something special for all those motherfuckers who pirate streams in 2021. Laughable on both counts there, but hey, we'll see. But speaking of streams, you will now be able to see the UFC in a few more places rather than you were able to in 2020. The UFC has officially signed a deal with ABC. This coming up weekend, Saturday nights, Holloway versus Cater will be the debut of broadcasting the UFC on ABC Sports. Dana is bound and determined to get the UFC on every television in the world that he can. So, props. That's what a promoter is supposed to be doing, and he's doing the shit out of it. The first card right out of the gate in 2021 will be broadcast partially, at least. No, hang on. Sorry, I've got old note on here written half over this note. We'll see as we get a little closer to it. I don't know for sure off the top of my head right now if it will be the full card that is on ABC or just the main card. But I know ESPN and ESPN Plus are also still in the mix for the prelims and the early prelims on the pay-per-views as well. So we'll have to see how that all shakes loose once they actually get things in motion for it. That being said, Dana's been busy boy this week, to say the least. Aside from his spiel about how everyone who pirates the UFC is going to have something for you motherfuckers this year, he also came out with talking about the ABC deal. He came out talking about how he is going to see Khabib one last time this week and try and push him to fight one last fight. I doubt it's going to happen. We'll see. Then he said one of the dumbest things I've heard him say in a long time, and that's really saying something, because Dana is almost a professional at this point, is putting his foot right into his fucking mouth. He said that he is vehemently opposed to open scoring in MMA, and his justification was that it makes for boring third rounds, because if a guy knows that he's up the first round and he's up the second round and the other guy can't win on points in round 3, that he's just going to sit back. The problem with that is that there have been and still continue to be plenty of fights now without open scoring where a guy and his corner just know you owned round 1. Undoubtedly. You owned round 2. Undoubtedly. At this point, you can coast through round 3 and just not get knocked the fuck out, and you're going to win this fight. You don't need open scoring for that to happen. We've seen plenty of that. Mike Jackson, fucking CM Punk. We've seen plenty of instances of that happen without open scoring there to influence any of it whatsoever. So it's not like that's a situation that open scoring creates that behavior. That already happens. Mike Jackson, you piece of shit. Excuse me. Oh man, these allergies, they're getting the best of me sometimes. But moving on from there, we also got some interesting news about this trip in Abu Dhabi. So for those of you who are unaware, the first 3 cards of the 2021 UFC season, Fight Night Cater versus Holloway, Fight Night Chiesa versus Magny, and then UFC 257, all 3 cards take place in the span of 8 days. We've got a card Saturday afternoon, and I say afternoon because it is afternoon in the US, not nights like we are used to. We have got a fight night Wednesday morning. I said that correctly. Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Time. UFC Fight Night Magny versus Chiesa starts. And then 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 23rd, UFC 257 kicks off. So we've got a trio of Abu Dhabi cards that will be daytime USA. I'm saying that again because we didn't realize that initially. We just realized that this week. So I'm betting everyone else who's looking forward to this didn't realize that yet either. All 3 cards are daytime cards. That being said, starting with UFC 257, this is supposed to be the first fight card back that the UFC is going to allow fans attending in a limited capacity. They've been showing some press work from the Etnid Stadium Arena. I believe it's Etnid, ETNID, I believe, Arena, where they're going to be holding the fights this time. They have got the seating spaced out. They've got the seats to keep social distancing physically closed with markers on them so you can't get into them. There's a giant plexiglass wall around the entire octagon to keep the floor separated from the stands. It looks like it could be interesting. The problem is that's Abu Dhabi, where anyone coming to buy a ticket to that arena can afford to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on that seat. It'll be interesting to see what happens once they get back to Las Vegas after these 3 fights, because the interesting thing about this run is that the first run in Abu Dhabi, I believe, was 6 fights, 6 events, 6 events or 7 events. The second run over there, I believe, was 6 events as well. They haven't really done just a quick turnaround like this. They did a quick 3 fights in 8 days to open Abu Dhabi, but not just that. And they've already said that after 257, they're coming back to Vegas. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to this whole limited fans thing when they get back to the States, and that's not allowed over here. We're nowhere near ready to bring fans back here in the U.S. in any capacity in any state. There's nowhere in the U.S. that's ready for that just yet. We're working on it, but there's nowhere in the U.S. that's ready for that just yet. So we'll see how that goes. Last thing I do want to talk about here real quick before we get into this mountain of fight news. Kind of a somber note. We talked about it before when it was first announced. We were all 4 of us on the show were pretty unanimous and pretty vocal about our feelings on this. And when it came closer to time and they were still going forward with it, we were pretty vocal about it then too. When the time actually came, we were very vocal about it. And then when it was all said and done, we begrudgingly said, I fucking told you so. But Walt Harris has officially come out this week and said that he has realized in retrospect, in reflecting on the past couple of months and all the fucking craziness that he has been through, that he really did rush coming back to the octagon, and he didn't give himself enough time to properly grieve. And you saw it, man. You saw it. And had he not been fighting the gentleman that he was, that could have been the end of Walt Harris's career. He got too sloppy. He got gassed the fuck out. And if he wasn't fighting as good of a human being as he was, he could have been really fucked up by some young, ignorant asshole who just wanted damage and wanted a KO highlight reel and a Walt Harris name on their fucking resume. He could have ended his fucking career. It could have been really bad for him. Luckily for him, he was fighting one of the classiest fucking dudes in the UFC who did everything he could to stop the fight without injuring Walt and was so fucking respectful it made you want to cry. But Walt Harris has come to terms with this. He understands it, and he's going to take the time he needs now to properly grieve and not rush himself to get back into the octagon. Dana and those guys have told him, you take as much time as you need. You do whatever you need to grieve. You've got a serious fucking loss in your life that you need to fucking deal with. So hopefully he gets a chance to properly get everything worked out, get himself emotionally flushed back to some sense of normalcy and back to where he needs to be if he's going to continue fighting, because he can't go on forward the way that he is now. It clearly isn't working. And nobody wants to see Walt Harris just get the shit beat out of him because he's mentally still dealing with the death of his daughter. That's fucked up. Nobody wants to see that. But it's on Walt at this point. The UFC has given him the full go-ahead. Take as much time as you need. Now it's just about Walt processing and dealing. And that's something that you can't rush. So here from the I'm No Joe, we absolutely wish Walt Harris the best and the most speediest expedient recovery that you can. We're here, man. We want nothing but the best. Unlike a lot of casual fucking fans, us hardcore fans understand that shit gets crazy sometimes, and sometimes life has to be dealt with more importantly than promotions and fame. And this is one of those situations where the fight game will wait. The world will understand. Grieve, brother, grieve. So that being said, what is up, Dylan? I see you popping in, brother. How goes it, sir? That will bring us to the absolute mountain of fight announcements that we have gotten since we saw you wonderful folks last. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking here. I've got fucking pages. I'm not bullshitting. I've got pages of crazy shit to tell you fine folks about. Some of these fights are spectacular and some of them are just very intriguing, but we're going to go over them just the same. So the first one I want to talk about real quick, February 27th, Alex Cowboy Oliveira, the Brazilian cowboy, is taking on Randy Brown. Alex Oliveira is one of those fighters that he's a great dude, but he's looking down 18 real fucking hard. You can almost see the clubhouse from where he's at right now. Randy Brown is the opposite. He's an up-and-comer who's just trying to make a good name for himself, and Oliveira could be the name to help springboard him. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to see. Excuse me. We also got confirmation. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson has officially been rebooked and moved to March 20, not 20, I don't know why I said that. March 6th, UFC 259. That card has had so many fights added to it here. That is just the first one. We'll get to a couple more here in just a minute. April 10th, Mackenzie Dirt is officially getting back in there against Nina Ansaroff in her first match since having the baby. I'm not sure why they put Mackenzie Dern in there for that first match. That's a strange matchup, but I am interested to see how that one plays out because you know damn well Amanda's going to be in Nina's corner. And I think realistically, other than jiu-jitsu itself, anywhere that fight goes, I think Nina's got it. I think with the exception of jiu-jitsu, obviously, that Mackenzie clearly has the advantage of, but even then only slightly because Amanda is also a black belt. And when your spouse is a black belt and you are your spouse's training partner, you got to pick up a little bit. And we know Nina's not terrible, but Mackenzie is a high-level black belt. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Speaking of derps against high-level black belts, February 27th, back at it with another pair of announcements here. Emily Whitmire versus Hannah Ciphers is coming on, as well as that black belt comes in here. Montana De La Rosa stepping in against Myra Silva. As we have seen, Montana De La Rosa is a badass black belt. Got decent hands too, but still is very much young in the MMA world as a whole and still has some holes in her game. She is getting better. She is definitely improving more and faster than her husband, Mark De La Rosa, is. I will absolutely give that credit there. But both of them very much need to step it the fuck up if they want to make the most of their opportunity, I say with air quotes for those of you listening. We also did get confirmation for those of you who have not heard yet. Khamzat Chimaev got himself some Backstreet Boys reunion tour tickets. He is officially out, which is why we actually have the headliner for Wednesday as Neil Magny versus Michael Chiesa. We have since then gotten the official announcement that they are rebooking again Leon versus Khamzat, and I'm pretty sure I wrote that down. Yes, there we go. March 13th is where they moved that one to. I could not remember the date. It's on a whole back of a whole other fucking piece of paper. There's so many fights. So that one is officially off for this week on for March 13th. We got the announcement for February 6th coming up in just a couple weeks. Alex De Silva will be taking on Devonte Smith. More fucking newbies, but potentially exciting newbies. Devonte Smith, man, that kid has got a lot of fucking potential. I don't want to like him, but I kind of have to at this point. We'll see what this fight actually produces, but man, there's potential in that kid. I'll say that. There is legitimate fucking potential in Devonte Smith. Whether he squanders it or takes advantage of it, that's yet to be seen, but there is potential in that young man. We did get an update. They officially moved some things around. We were going to see it later on. They bumped it up. We'll be talking about it in just a little bit here. Joaquin Buckley is taking on Alessio Di Chirico, on the January 16th on this coming up card, on this Saturday's Cater versus Holloway card. That is going to be a very interesting matchup that we will talk about a little bit later on once we get into the fight breakdowns. Additional adding into this crazy Abu Dhabi round of fights, last minute notification Juliana Pena will be taking on Sarah McMahon. That fight has been scheduled and moved 3 times now, I believe. This time they are moving it up into UFC's 257 card. I mean, honestly, that's going to be a great match as long as they finally get it made. We've had so many matchups lately, like this Khamzat and Leon fucking situation where they've booked it 2, 3, 4 times now, and shit just keeps falling apart. And after what we've seen Tony and Khabib go through, we shouldn't have that anymore. At this point, if a fight falls through twice in a row, fuck it. Stop trying to make it. If it comes through organically later on down the road, cool. But after a fight has fallen through twice, I don't want to see it try to be made a 3rd fucking time or 4th fucking time. That's where we're at now with Khamzat and Leon. That's where we are at here with Juliana Pena and Sarah McMahon. Hopefully, I knock on wood and say, we actually get to see both of those fights unfold on their now current rescheduled dates, because man, it's just a little old to see these fights keep getting rebooked and rebooked and rebooked and rebooked, and they're always getting rebooked on short ends. It's never a 6-month rebook, 6-month out rebook. So shit keeps happening. Hopefully they get that straightened out. We did get an announcement this last week, not this week, but last week, confirmed this week, headlining my birthday card for March 20th, Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland. I almost feel like this is a little premature for Kevin Holland to be getting the Derek Brunson treatment. The reason I say that, it's not that Derek Brunson is a complete soup can. Derek Brunson is a step above a complete soup can. He's not quite legitimate gatekeeper status, but he's not far from it. He's basically the first talent step above the gatekeeper in that division. And I feel like with that legitimate loss that was given as a W that Kevin Holland got in the Darren Stewart fight, I understand he ended the year with the Jacare match and that crazy fucking knockout from the back that he started and then pounded into the cage with. I credit where credit is due. Like I say, That was a knockout. That was a crazy fucking knockout. But there's a reason he was on his fucking back like that. Jacare already had him going backwards, and he legitimately lost the fight before that. And even he admitted that, but the judges gave it to him to the extent that he told Dana right away, we need to book that again. I lost that fight. That was another issue of judges being incompetent and beyond ignorant. So with that, and then up until the crazy fucking lucky knockout that he got on Jacare, I don't think he has really earned himself the bump up into that Derek Brunson status, because as we have seen most of the middleweights that make it to the top, Derek Brunson and Brad Tavares become their springboards, their platforms to get into the top 10. I don't think Big Mouth is ready for that yet. If he proves me wrong and shuts Derek Brunson the fuck down, I'll eat my words. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think he's ready for that. And I think Derek Brunson might be able to stop the Big Mouth train. And I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, that's my birthday, so I'm going to be well under the influence by the time that fight gets to be, but I'm hoping it's going to be interesting to see. We'll see when we get a little closer to that. February 27th card has just had a very interesting matchup added to it. Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres will be taking on the short notice champ who wasn't champ, Kevin Kroom from Team Kraus, the man who made a beautiful debut and then got it snatched away from him by the marijuana laws that have since become a little bit twisted and turned around in the UFC. One thing I do want to use that to segue into here is we did get the announcement just today that officially the UFC and USADA will no longer fine athletes who test positive for marijuana. Now, as clickbait of a headline as that is, I do feel it needs to be explained a little further. While that is an exciting sound, there's more to that story. What it actually means is that the UFC and USADA's prior 180 nanogram threshold, was it 180 or 190? Either way, 190 nanogram threshold for cannabis tests basically made it to where you just couldn't consume cannabis day of your fight and you would still be okay. That has still been very controversial and scientifically basically proven to be stupid, for lack of a better explanation. So what they did was the UFC and USADA, mainly Jeff Nowitzki, have decided to officially go forward with no longer sanctioning or fining UFC fighters who test positive for marijuana. The caveat to that is that while the UFC and USADA may not fine a fighter for that, the local athletic commission still hold the ultimate say. And as stupid as it is, and it is fucking stupid, states like Nevada, where marijuana is recreationally and medicinally 100% legal, the athletic commission still has a threshold of 150 nanograms per milliliter. So they are even less tolerant than the UFC already was just in general in a state where it's fucking legal. That's like saying that if you live in Colombia and you own a coffee farm and you drink coffee, you can't have more than 2 cups a day or you're going to jail.
What? Going to jail?
Telling you, man, fucking kids these days. How goes it, Fresh 03?
Doing good. How about you, brother?
We're here, brother. We're here. Oh, ridiculousness, I tells you. So we'll see how that actually plays out. The good news is that Jeff Nowitzki is very adamant about doing this for the scientific reasons and has the breakdown and the justifications for multiple studies that are peer-reviewed studies that they use to come to this conclusion. And he emphasized very heavily that they're making this decision based on science, not based on community pressure or fighters' frustration with the rules. So there is that.
Oh, are we talking about the devil's lettuce?
Yes, sir. Or lack thereof.
The lack thereof now. I mean, it's been proven to help athletes recover. It's proven on pain management. It's proven to help with injury recovery. I mean, it is not a performance enhancer in any way, shape, or form. Unless it's enhancing your performance to get up and go hit the fridge.
Right. No, that was probably my favorite thing that Nowitzki said in the interview where he was talking about the new change in rules here, is that they have now had multiple different peer-reviewed studies that have confirmed there is no level, be it high, be it low, if you microdose, if you put yourself comatose, there is no level whatsoever verified across multiple different athletes from multiple different sports, multiple different age ranges, multiple different tolerance levels. There is no number as far as marijuana is concerned that can give you any type of performance enhancement. Mentally, perhaps, because that's what all of the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioners will tell you, is that the reason they love to smoke is because it slows things down in their mind and lets them see more creative ways to use their craft. But in terms of a physical performance enhancement, it just doesn't fucking happen. And science has finally proven that, to the extent that Jeff Nowitzki, the golden snitch himself, is willing to get on Team Ganja. So fucking progress in 2021, damn it.
About time.
Better late than never, you know. What's up, Cian? Seeing you out there.
Sin's out there. What up, girl? I hate to break your hearts in, but I've got an orange lemonade. It's not a seltzer. I'm sorry.
That's ironic. I'm drinking blackberry cranberry lemonade myself.
Did it just resize me? You son of a...
It did. You just...
Nope. Here, this is the size I'm going to be today.
I say, Mary, maybe it just zoomed in.
My head is huge.
It's all good. We'll survive, I'm sure. Oh, but next one I want to talk about here. Finally, the last one on the first page, the click over. Jinyu Frey taking on Gloria De Paula on March 13th. So former Invicta lady stepping in the UFC to give us some excitement, kicking off one of the nice March cards going on here. We did actually, oh yeah, I forgot about that. We got an announcement just today, as a matter of fact, for that same March 13th card. They have added another fight to that card, one that most people probably would not have seen coming because it was never really on anyone's radar as far as I can tell. Dan Ige finally getting back into the octagon after a long little time off here from a rough war, stepping back in against Ryan Hall, of all fucking people. So
Ryan Hall.
It's, yeah, that's kind of that's the face that I made when I read that too. I'm like, what? Like, I could have sworn that Ryan Hall had been released from the UFC. I
haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, I was 85% certain that he had been released. He hasn't been in the octagon in almost 3 years now. At this point, he's kind of like the BJ Penn joke threat that some people kind of use, like, don't make me set up a match with the BJ Penn because he's still technically on the UFC roster. Like, that's what Ryan Hall's name had kind of become. It's been so long since we'd seen him. I legitimately thought he was gone. I thought he'd been cut. Turns out, no, he's both still on the roster, and he's still going to try and do the damn thing. So there's two things we can expect out of that fight. Dan Ige is going to get an eye swollen shut, and Ryan Hall is going to try an Imanari roll for no fucking reason. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that actually plays out, but, you know, what are you going to do? There we go. Here's the other pair of them. So I said earlier when we talked about the Amanda Nunes Megan Anderson fight getting moved to 259 on March 6th that they were starting to restack that card. Here's the section of notes where I get back into a bunch of those great fights here. So the big two, aside from Amanda, they have turned that into a triple header card. We will get Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson for the ladies 145. We will get Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo for the 135 men's belt. And then to top it all off, we will get the Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya square off for the 205 belt. Israel Adesanya moving up to try and get that champ status. So 259 is fucking stacked right now.
Aldo's getting another title shot.
Not Aldo. I'm sorry, Aljo. I
Oh, okay.
Clear, so I said it. Aljamain Sterling. Yeah.
Aljamain Sterling.
Clear,
okay.
so
I was like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
No. Jose Aldo is going to be lucky if he's still on the UFC roster at this point. No, Aljamain Sterling is stepping in against Peter Yan for that 135 belt. I don't think he should get that crack, but he's going to. So, what are we going to do? But
I mean,
Blachowicz versus Adesanya at 205.
That's going to be a great fight.
That's the highlight for me. I'm pretty sure Yan is going to be able to handle anything Sterling can fucking throw at him.
Mm-hmm.
But Adesanya, for the first time at light heavyweight, coming in against that fucking Polish power, trying to take the first big man champ status, moving from middleweight to light heavyweight. We've never had a champ try those two ranges before. That's got all sorts of history. Plus, Adesanya at 205 for the first time. Blachowicz understanding the urge for champ status, but kind of being known as that guy who sends middleweights back to 185.
Yeah,
he's real fucking good at it. So, man, I'm fucking stoked. I'm stoked to see that one. That whole card is really stacking out.
I mean, Izzy might be the most technical striker in the game right now, and that's his.
Absolutely.
But Jan is
that Polish power, man.
He's just been angry, and well, this will just make him more. This will just make him more angry.
Yeah, to be fair, he kind of got overlooked. He really was a dark horse for he got overlooked really way more than he should have, and I feel like that's almost where we're at again. Like, they're almost using him as a placeholder champion more than the legitimate bad motherfucker that he is. And I can understand that making him a little bit angry. But the thing that makes me the most curious about this is that Jan only walks around like 215-ish. Jan doesn't cut a whole lot of weight to make 205.
No, he doesn't.
Izzy cuts a ton of weight to make 185. Izzy walks around at 210.
Yeah.
So they relatively are the same size naturally.
I think this is gonna be real interesting. That's gonna be the fight. That's gonna be the fight.
Yeah, that's what like, the whole card is stacking out, but seeing that one unfold, that one's got me legitimately excited about it. Okay, so as I didn't ask them to, but Dana apparently knew that it's just one of the things that I would really love. So again, he's giving me another great fight added to my birthday card this year. Kay Hansen is stepping back in against Cheyenne Buys. Those are two of the most exciting lady prospects the UFC has picked up in a long fucking time, and I'm a big fan of both of them. So to put them together on my birthday when I'm already going to be half shit-faced, that's just even fucking better. So thank you, Dana. I hope we actually get to that. So I shouldn't get too excited, but if we do, oh man, that's going to be a great fucking match. We did get an announcement officially. It was kind of called out in the ring, but it wasn't official when that call out happened. We did get the official announcement and at least part of the card reveal rather. February 5th is the Super Brawl Knuckle event from Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Okay, BKFC.
The debut of Paige Van Zandt taking on Britain Hart. I said it when they announced that Paige Van Zandt was going to Bare Knuckle, that they basically bought themselves an expensive ring girl, and that the first time they put her in that cage, they're going to find out real quick that she's not what they think she is. And I assumed that they were going to find some fucking Domino's pizza delivery gal, and they were going to take her out of her fucking pizza uniform, slap some fucking wrist wraps on her, and feed her to Paige Van Zandt. And goddamn was I wrong, because when Britain Hart called out Paige Van Zandt, it was when she had literally just finished beating the dog shit out of a girl in the fucking bare knuckle ring where they had Paige commentating on the fight. So Britain knew exactly what she wanted. And she walked over and she says, Paige, you're fucking next. Paige has never seen anything in the ways of striking like Britain Hart. And I like Britain Hart, but she's nothing like any of the decent level strikers in the UFC, even where Paige already had horrible striking and didn't put up a lot of competition on the feet. So I feel like this might be that moment where we get to watch the president of BKFC realize that his investment literally is getting flushed on live television.
There's one thing about that fight, and that's that Paige Van Zandt she'll be a very willing participant.
Yes, that she will. She's going to be eager to jump in and fucking prove. So
yeah. I mean,
give her that.
Fingers crossed that turns into a fun fight.
Right.
I think she probably gets the dog piss beat out of her, but
yeah.
I mean, like I said, she
knows what she knows what she's getting into. So
yeah,
she knows this ain't a cheerleading event.
Yeah, I mean, Paige, for all the things that she isn't, she's always been a very willing participant in every fight, even if she knew that shit was not going to go her way.
Yeah, so. No, she's absolutely down, and I will fucking absolutely give her credit for it. I will also, though, be very impressed if this fight sees round 3.
I would be very surprised.
Even though it's 2-minute rounds over on BKFC, Britain Hart is a fucking brawler of a gal, and she does not fuck around. She hits real hard, and she's pretty goddamn technical too. So Paige should be doing her fucking homework right now, real seriously. And if she is, it could get interesting. But the whole Super Brawl event taking place over Super Bowl weekend on BKFC has got a hell of a card stacking up so far, but they are definitely leaning in to that Paige Van Zandt factor.
I mean, she's still got a name to her, so
she absolutely still does, and they're gonna try and fucking wring every drop out of it. We did get an interesting last-second announcement late last week, early this week for this next weekend's UFC 257 card. We finally found out when and where Michael Chandler will be making his debut, and it is against none other than Dan the Hangman Hooker as the co-main event to 257.
All right.
I am absolutely okay with that because Michael Chandler has already started talking shit. Not only has he already started talking shit about Dan Hooker, but he's already at this point started talking enough shit that he says when, not if, but when he knocks out Dan Hooker, he's immediately going to challenge Conor McGregor. And as far as he's concerned, the UFC should just go ahead and slap the belt on that fight.
All right, Chandler. Let's go number one here. You've got a fight here with one of the baddest motherfuckers in the UFC.
The Hangman is no one to overlook. Yes.
Dan Hooker is not the man to look past. Like he put on a couple of the best fights last year. Dude is
a fucking soldier.
He is a soldier. He's the Australian fucking Paul Felder. Like he just marches ahead no matter what else is going on. This fucking fight is going to decision, or I'm going to kill you. One of the two.
Kill you in the process. Yes.
You're not going to knock me out. You're not going to submit me. This is either going to decision.
Hooker can take damage. You can put the fucking beating of the lifetime on that dude for 5 goddamn rounds, and he'll be beatered. He'll be there.
Yep. I'm a big fan of this fight. All right.
I'm very much a fan of this fight, specifically after today's, because there was a brand new one just about an hour and a half ago. Michael Chandler actually came out and said, I've got the toughest chin in the UFC. I don't see any issue in this fight. And I guess somehow Michael Chandler forgot that literally just 2 fights ago, he got knocked the fuck out. His tough chin shut off 2 fights ago. 2.
And Dan Hooker's got some fucking fists of concrete.
And yeah,
he may not be wielding the steel,
Right. Well,
But he's
and
got
to
some
be fair,
concrete in those fucking gloves.
and to be fair, I have neither been punched by Patricky Pitbull or Dan Hooker, but based on an educated guess that I have from years of experience in this field, both being punched and watching punches, I'm pretty goddamn sure Dan Hooker hits a lot fucking harder than Pitbull does.
Yeah.
And Pitbull barely clipped him and knocked him the fuck out. So
It's gonna be fun.
I'm excited. I'm very fucking excited to see one way or another. Either Chandler is going to get lucky as shit and he's going to call McGregor out immediately, or we're going to end that fucking hype train Askren style. So we'll see. We did get an interesting announcement here for the February 20th card. Newcomer Jared Van Der Raa, and I say that because there's 3 A's at the end of his name, will be taking on the sorry, wrong note. I was looking at the wrong line. He will be taking on the polar bear himself, Sergei Spivak, finally getting back in to try and get back into the win column. At this point, they are basically throwing Spivak in the new guys are your last chance category because he had a couple of rough outings. But I think he can get back in it. It kind of feels like he was just in one of those lulls that almost every fighter's career has at some point. I think Spivak can pull it back. I like him. He's a fucking talented kid, so I don't want to see him get flushed out off some fucking new guy making his debut. But again, anything's possible in the UFC these days. We'll see. One fight that has got me very, very intrigued and excited. Unfortunately, Dana decided to put it the week after my fucking birthday. But the March 27th card has just got a fucking very exciting matchup added to it here. Jimmy Croot versus Johnny Walker.
Ooh, okay.
That is so fucking exciting just on face value alone. The fucking tear that Jimmy Croot is on is just fucking unbelievable. That one loss, kind of like we thought, just lit the fire under his ass and got him back to where he should have been the whole time. And that boy is making a fucking tear up to the top. Johnny Walker got humbled for fucking sure. Now it's time to see if he got humbled and he's coming back, or if he got humbled and then kind of got his own fucking ego knocked out of place and he just lost all his fucking drive because he got worked. He got worked fucking hard while he was convinced that it was never going to happen. And then Corey beat that ass. So we'll see. Either way, we know Johnny Walker is a very capable fighter when he's there. But Jimmy Croot, man, that kid's on such a fucking tear right now. I'm excited to see that one play out.
Yeah. Time to see if the fire got lit under Johnny.
Yeah, because we saw Jimmy Croot, and to be fair, Jimmy Croot took that loss hard. And I understand because he was on a hell of a roll, undefeated, and he got his ass handed to him. He got humble pied real fucking bad, but he did exactly what we hoped he would, what most fighters should do. Take that ass whooping and learn from it, man. Get back in there and fix what they used against you so that nobody can fucking do that anymore. Jimmy Croot's been doing that in spades, man. That kid is on fire right now. We'll see if Johnny can play that same card. We have got another official rebooking here. They kind of jumped it back. They were talking about April, May initially. They have now officially moved the Usman Burns rematch, or rebook rather, excuse me, not rematch, rebook has been moved to UFC 258, taking place on February 13th.
Good.
So whatever it was,
time for Gilbert Burns to rip that fucking belt off.
Yeah, whatever Usman was using as an excuse to try and prolong this, because he was the one who was saying April or May was when we would see them get back at it. And apparently Dana called bullshit on that because Gilbert is getting back in there in February and taking that fucking belt.
Good.
I'm excited for that one. I want to see Usman just get fucking ragdolled, and Gilbert Burns is the one to do it as far as I'm fucking concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Usman can try all of his little fucking stall tactics all he wants. Saying he's one of the best pound for pound fighters in the fucking world. My ass, Dana. My ass. He's a world class staller.
70%
now you're up against someone who's not going to tolerate that shit. I'm down for that. You back that dude. You back Burns up against the fence. You better be ready for what's fucking coming.
Fuck yeah. There's nowhere in that octagon that Usman can take that fight that Burns isn't better than him. There's nowhere. Nowhere. And
Yeah.
Gilbert's knees still work.
Yep. Gilbert's ready.
Usman was literally talking in December about how he's got to find that moment in his career coming up because he's going to have both knees replaced very soon. Gilbert Burns ain't the one to go in against when you got both knees going bad, pal.
Yep.
He gonna ragdoll that ass.
He's gonna get you.
I'm down for it.
I'm completely down for watching Gilbert Burns just thrash Usman.
Fuck yeah.
One of the most undeserving champions in UFC history.
I know. Fuck him so much. I hated him on Ultimate Fighter, and I hate him
I'm
just
a
as
problem.
much now.
I'm a problem, meter.
Problem. I'm a problem. Fucking nightmare, all right. Wet dream. Yeah. Fuck out of here. Oh, but another interesting matchup to the February 20th card that, again, we were all kind of anticipating later on, closer towards the summer. Dana was like, no. Pushing that shit right up. February 20th, we will see Derek Lewis step back in against Curtis Blades. That's another one. I thought it was going to be summertime when we saw it, but I'm okay with that one getting pushed up because I honestly kind of feel like that's very Usman-esque and that Derek was trying to get that fight stalled out. Curtis is like, nah, son, I'm ready to whip that ass now. And I think he's gonna. I think Derek Lewis has been fucking around too much, playing with his car, playing golf, fucking around too much. Meanwhile, Curtis Blades has been kicking ass and taking names. And it's real fucking hard at this point to deny he's on the fucking short list for title shots.
Yep.
A win over Derek Lewis, I feel, puts him probably above John Jones, right behind Francis.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Francis.
I'm okay with it.
It's got to be Francis next, but
yeah,
after that,
yeah,
game's wide open.
Interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, could get real interesting indeed. The other two that they announced going on that February 20th card, Andre Arlovsky will be taking on Tom Aspinall. I'm only interested in that fight any amount whatsoever in the hope that Tom Aspinall can just knock him the fuck out and we can be done with Arlovsky. Andre has been so legitimately lucky to still be in there and getting decision wins at this point. Like, I honestly didn't think he beat Tanner Boser on the cards. I'm surprised as fuck that card or that fight made it to the cards, but I don't think he took that one. And the fact that they're going to put him against a guy in that same tier as fucking Tanner Boser in a Tom Aspinall, I'm hoping that Tom can get done what we were hoping Tanner was going to and just get him the fuck out of there already. The other interesting fight that they have added to that card is one of the few semi-legitimate guys who has come off of the Dana White Contender Series outside of Super Sadiq and Mean Hakeem Dawodu. Rafael Alves will be stepping in against a guy who we have not seen in quite some time now, Tough 27 winner, Mike Trezano. He actually fought shortly after he won the Ultimate Fighter, got injured, and we have not seen him since. That dude did great on the fucking show. That dude's got a hell of a highlight reel from before he got to Ultimate Fighter. It sucks that he took as much time off as he did, but if he's anything like he was when he won the goddamn show, this could make for a real interesting fight, as well as the odd idiosyncrasy of legitimately putting Contender Series against the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
That's kind of the more interesting dynamic that I'm looking at it as, because we know Trezano was a bad motherfucker. Alves has been pretty goddamn decent for somebody who came through the fucking Contender Series. The pairing of these two, the irony of them putting a Contender Series against an Ultimate Fighter guy was not lost on me. So, speaking of Contender Series, Julia Stoliarenko from 28 Ultimate Fighter 28, will be taking on my birthday against the angry panda herself, Julia Avila. Julia on Julia Crime.
All right.
Gonna get interesting. I mean, I'm telling you, Dana knew that I wanted weird shit for my birthday, and he's delivering. So,
The Angry Panther.
yeah,
Great,
assuming
one of the great
we get
nicknames
there,
in the UFC.
I agree. I think it's fucking awesome, and she's a bad girl too.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bad girl. Via's a bad girl. If she keeps on her streak, she's gonna be a name to fucking watch real soon too. Let's see here. Here we go. Announcement for this coming weekend. Well, it'll be next week, but we'll get to it later on in the show for the full breakdown. But turns out Brian Kelleher is out. He got himself some Backstreet Boys. So unfortunately, the matchup between him and Ricky Simone that I was very much looking forward to is going to be off. But they did let Ricky stay on the card, and they are going to let him fight a gentleman in the name of Gaetano Pirello, making his debut. So kind of tossing a nice little T-ball to Ricky Simone. Here's a new guy, last minute, short notice, making a debut on Fight Island. We've seen that either goes real good for guys or real bad for guys.
Yep.
Simone's already got that full camp in here, so I'm hoping Ricky can do work and just put on a nice, quick Kamzat-esque fucking weekend for us. Get her back into that win column, get some momentum going again. But like I said, Fight Island goes one of two ways, and there's nothing for certain.
Want another fight? Smash, bro.
All right. You gotta get in there and you gotta get it. You gotta fucking want it.
You gotta get in there, you gotta smash, and you gotta get out.
That's right. Interesting matchup here for UFC 258 on February 13th. This is another rebooking that I thought they weren't going to rebook. I figured when it got canceled, they were going to let sleeping dogs fucking lie. No, for whatever reason, Dana has got a hard on for this fucking match because I think this is the third time this one has been made as well. But now we are putting it on a pay-per-view. So apparently he knows something that's got him confident in it now. Jimmy Rivera stepping back in against Pedro Munoz.
It could be all right.
I feel like this is either going to be a very interesting fight or a small guy version of Luis Ngannou.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I love Pedro fucking Munoz, but he's starting to show some wear. He's starting to show the wear and tear. The road miles are starting to show through. I'm honestly, genuinely 100% surprised that Jimmy Rivera is still on the fucking UFC roster.
Yeah.
That dude has been a punching bag for the who's who have come through that fucking division. I think that's part of why it surprises me so much that they rebooked this fight instead of just letting it fucking go. But, they're slapping it on a pay-per-view. So that shows me that Dana's got some kind of confidence in it at this point. We'll see.
So fuck it. Just let the little dudes pound each other.
Right. Yeah. Just let them bang it out. Let them bang, bro.
Huh.
But the other interesting fight they announced with the Pedro fight that is going on the 13th card, Diego Lima stepping back in against Bilal Muhammad.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
That has got all sorts of interesting potential written all over that one. And I think if that were realistically a different opponent for either one of those two, I don't want it on on a pay-per-view. But I think you stack those two together. Yeah, I think there's enough there. I think there's enough potential there. I'm okay with that on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's a pay-per-view match. I like that.
Let's see here. So, speaking of rebookings, this one is the little guy equivalent of fucking Khabib Tony at this time, because I think at this point this one has been moved 4 times, and this makes the 5th, I believe, or this is the 4th time it's been moved. Alexandre Pantoja, taking on Manel Kape, finally making his poor fucking UFC debut. That dude has been trying so fucking hard to just get a damn fight in here, and they have moved it so many fucking times on him. February 6th is the date they've given him this time. Hopefully, they are actually able to stick with it, because I'm genuinely curious to see what Manel Kape can do in the UFC. he was a bad little motherfucker over in Cage Warriors. He's a tiny little fucking angry guy. So we'll see. We definitely need more tiny little angry guys because some of them are starting to age their way out.
Yep.
So we definitely need some more new guys coming into that section of the world. And hey, Manel Cape is not a bad name. You bringing in former fucking champions from other organizations again. If you remember back when they were trying to find somebody who could beat Mighty Mouse, that's what they had to do last time. They literally started bringing in champions from other organizations, and it got real interesting in the division for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We're back at that point, baby. We're back at that point. So hopefully we finally get Manel in there. We can see what he can do. Excuse me.
He's gonna come in. He's gonna come in with a chip on his shoulder, like bad.
Well, and at this point, I'm down to see it. I want to see him unload. Oh, here we go. Okay, so oh yeah, I forgot that I didn't have room for that on the other page. So for UFC 257, the Mike Grundy match, Mike Grundy versus Evliov, is officially out. Evliov is the one who beat Mike Grundy last time.
Yeah, I was gonna say Evliov looked good last time.
Yeah, he's the one who beat Mike Grundy last time, and they're calling him up rather to step in for Mike Grundy this time in 257. So that'd be an interesting matchup to see. As well as the other announcement from 257, I was just talking about it a minute ago. Mean Hakeem Dawodu is actually out, hurt his shoulder. So we will not, unfortunately, get to see Dawodu versus Burgos next weekend, which I was fucking stoked to see. That was going to be a bangers fucking fight if ever there was one as well. But with a hurt shoulder and a week's notice, no. I'm glad they pulled him out of that one. But again, like I said, Dana knew I like weird fights, and I wanted weird fights for my birthday. So give me another one here. Trevin Giles stepping back in against Dricus Duplessis. Duplessis was one of the guys who stepped in short notice last summer in Abu Dhabi, came in out of nowhere, no fucking notice, whipped ass, took names, and got the fuck out of Dodge with a bonus to go home. The last time we saw Trevin Giles out, he looked pretty goddamn good for a guy who passed out in the fucking back room the time before that. So I'm okay with that. It's one of those definite styles make matchups. Duplessis is a very long, rangy kind of guy, whereas Giles is a striker. He wants to get in a pocket. He wants to stay in that phone booth and fucking bang. Yep. Duplessis is kind of the opposite. He wants to be rangy. He wants to be moving. He wants to hit you with everything from distance and keep shit light. I think that could be a real fun matchup. What's the next one here? There we go. UFC 259, March 6th. Kaya Kara France getting back into action, stepping in against Rogerio Bontorin. Both guys had kind of rough outings last time. I think that's going to be interesting to see how Kaya Kara France comes from getting his ass whipped to get back on that saddle, or to get back on the horse, rather, get back in the saddle, as it were.
I don't know that fight changed anything for Kai Kara France.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Like, is he still on that path? Is he still where he was, or did he kind of take a step back a little bit? Because he got worked. But he gave his fair share doing it. So
yeah, he did.
I don't know. But I like Bontorin. I like Rogerio Bontorin. That little motherfucker's crazy. That dude is fucking
They're both crazy.
So yeah, that's got potential to be a real fucking fun matchup as well.
Yeah, we could see some bouncing off the fence and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, there could be some Showtime kicks and crazy shit happening with them little dudes.
I like it. I like that fight.
So here we go. February 13th, we got the announcement confirmed today. Actually, it was announced originally 2 days ago, but confirmed today by all parties involved. February 13th, UFC 258, Jillian Robertson getting back in there against Miranda Maverick.
Okay.
Jillian had kind of a rough go this last time, but if you guys follow, The week after she got her nose broken UFC, butterfly stitched up and all, she went over to Submission Underground and kicked ass and took names against Pearl fucking Gonzalez. Got her nose re-broke in the match, still fucking won it. So
Yep.
Jillian's a tough fucking gal. I'm a big fucking fan of hers. Getting in there against Miranda Maverick, who has looked pretty fucking spectacular lately as well, but on the UFC pay-per-view, so big lights are shining. We'll see how
Yep.
she
We'll
does. When the
see how
big lights
Maverick
are on.
handles that.
Yeah, we'll see what the big lights.
We know
change here
Jillian. We know
before.
Jillian can handle it.
Yeah, she's no stranger to the big show. She can short notice it over to Abu Dhabi if she has to. But we'll see what happens when Miranda gets under the big lights, especially if when they get back from Abu Dhabi, we've got limited fans in the events here.
Yep.
Even some limited fans will absolutely make that a very different feel in a pay-per-view situation than your average fight night. We'll see. Next one here, March 13th card. The big boys getting back in there. Jairzinho Rosenstruik will step in to take on Cyril Gahn. I mean, on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, it kind of feels a little bit like adding insult to injury, considering that Francis just beat the shit out of Jairzinho, and Cyril Gahn is literally Francis's training partner, has been for 6 years.
Yeah, and Cyril Gahn, the way he fights is interesting. So
It's kind of Francis-esque to a degree,
Yeah.
but he's very much more fluid, more movement oriented than Francis is.
yeah,
Francis is that steam train who's coming right down the track, whereas Gahn's got some movement. He's got a little
Yeah.
bit of footwork. He could dance on you a little bit.
he's really smooth and really technical.
Yeah,
So-
I'm kind of into it, but it also kind of feels like they're kind of bitch slapping Rosenstruik a little bit too.
They might be.
Like, Biggie Boy better get his shit together, man, because to be fair, he went on a pretty good run, but then that run came to an end, and he's had a couple of rough ones since then. So we'll see how that actually plays out once it's all said and done. So that is actually the last of the announcements and the fights that I have got for this particular episode here. I'm going to take a drink. I am parched.
We got through all of
We
them.
can get into some talk. Yeah, we made it, man. And hey, to be fair, I figured there was an hour and a half's worth of fucking notes.
Hour and a half.
I kicked off at 8 on the nuts. It's 9:30. I'm pretty fucking good at guessing at this point.
2 full pages. Yeah, I mean, we've been on break for a while, and there has been nonstop announcements. So
As I said, we were out for almost a month, and the news didn't stop. So that being said, TJ should be jumping in here pretty soon. I'm not sure if RJ is around tonight or not, but we will get into the first, like I kind of talked about a little bit earlier. We're going over 2 cards this evening here. We're going over this Saturday's Cater versus Holloway versus Cater. I'm not sure how they've got it booked. We are also going to be going over Wednesday's early card, the Magny versus Chiesa, which was originally Kamzat versus Edwards. But the reason we're doing that is because Wednesday's card is early as shit. Now,
like
to be
8
clear,
a.m.
yeah, to be clear, originally, before they had announced start times, we had kind of thought we would be able to do a Combat Compatriot where we do the live commentary from us that you guys get to listen to instead of having to deal with the asshats over in the seats over in Abu Dhabi. But that was before we found out this bitch kicks off at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. I'm going to try like hell to see if I am able to pull this off. But if I am, I'm telling you all right now, there will have to be some small intermission breaks for me to retrieve my caffeine and get my devil's lettuce going. And I will have to take breaks throughout this. So if I'm able to do this, you're going to be dealing with first thing in the morning meter. I want you guys to understand that as well. That is not the same fun time meter you guys get here at 11 o'clock at night on an I'm No Joe podcast. You need to understand those are 2 different people. Now, I'm still willing to try. I'm going to set alarms. I'm going to have the coffee pot ready. I'm going to give it a hell of an effort, but I can already tell you right now, poor Mr. Fresho 3 will be at work. He will not make it. Golf T will be at work. He will not make it. RJ is still unconfirmed, but assuming that he will most likely have to be at work as well. So if you guys get a Combat Compatriot on Wednesday, and that's a big if you get it, it will most likely be just me, and it will be very different. It will definitely be more analytical and less humory than I normally am, because I will be just waking up and then freshly woken up and not properly functioning and vetted yet. So I want to put the disclaimer out there. If we get a show Wednesday, I want you to know what you're in for. So that being said, for the returning event, the first UFC officially of the 2021 fight year, the first breakdown of season 4 here on the I'm No Joe podcast, we have got UFC. Actually, let me see. Where is it? How is it? It is Holloway versus Cater. UFC Fight Night, Holloway versus Cater. Not only the first event back in a 3-fight in 8-day run in Abu Dhabi, the first fight on the UFC's new ABC contract broadcast as well, and the return of Max Blessed Holloway. This is going to be a hell of a card. And now I've got to say, we should assume it's a fight night. There's going to be some filler. There's going to be some new folks. There's going to be some unrecognized folks, some names that people aren't familiar with. For one, it's a fight night. For two, the UFC is trying to bring in some of that new talent that they need to highlight, because they're getting ready to start flushing out. We're waiting on that the confirmation of that list of 60 that Dana was so fucking adamant about telling us that he was going to cut loose. So with the 60 big ones getting ready to get flushed out, the new guys are going to have to start getting brought in. So this is where they're going to start right off the bat. That being said, there are still some spectacular matches on this fucking card here. The prelims overall, you kind of got to assume a fight night prelims. That's where they're going to throw a lot of this in. They're pretty
a lot of
meh.
soup cannon.
Yeah, they're pretty meh. There's a lot of soup on this early one, but there are also some very, very interesting matchups here. Sarah Morris versus Vanessa Mello is going to be very interesting. Big sized little gals, if that makes sense, can both get at it and get fucking crazy. David Zawada is a very interesting name, very interesting welterweight prospect coming up. But Carlos Felipe versus Justin Tafa. The big boys are going to get at it. We have seen Carlos Felipe come out recently and put on a fight that he had no business being that good in, and goddamn if he did not surprise the shit out of all of us. I am very curious to see if he can keep that momentum going, or if that was a fluke because of how personally invested he was in that fight. Justin Tafa, on the other hand, is Mark Hunt's protege. This is the new walk-off knockout king, supposedly, in training. But Felipe's got a chin. Carlos Felipe has got a fucking chin on him. I like Justin Tafa. I really do. But with what Carlos Felipe has shown us in the last couple of fights, if he stays on that path, he's going to be a serious fucking contender real quick. I've got Felipe taking this one.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, Tafa, from what I've seen, I mean, he's had a couple of impressive wins, but he's also looked mediocre.
Yes, he's
as
had
well.
some meh moments. Yeah,
he's had some very meh moments. So I mean, with the way Philippe's been fighting, I mean, I have to give it to the dude who's just been rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one that I can't not mention, aside from it being the quote unquote premier prelim fight, Philip Hawes stepping in against Nasruddin Imavov. Philip Hawes, I believe it was 2 days notice he made his debut on. It was either 2 days, it was either 48 hours or 24 hours. It was 2 days or less to make his fucking debut, and came in and looked like a fucking world breaker. No fucking octagon jitters. Looked like he had been there his whole fucking life. And now he's coming back in, and they're going to put him in that premier prelim spot to get a little bit more eyes on him here. This is going to be, for me, that moment where we learn either Philip Hawes really is that calm, cool, and collected because he does belong here, or He just didn't let the moment get to him last time, and now he's in Fight Island, and all the big names are around him, and people are going to be watching because there's crowds in the stands. So he's either going to rock it or he's going to fold like a goddamn lawn chair. Personally, I think this is going to be verification of what we saw in his debut. I think Philip Hawes is going to come out and he's going to show that this motherfucker is here to stay, and he better fucking pay attention.
Yep.
Nothing against Mr. Imavov, but Philip Hawes, baby.
I mean, he could be a smart enough fighter to avoid Hawes for, it'd probably take about 2.5 rounds to tire him out.
Yeah.
If I had to take a wild guess, just based on what we've seen. I don't think he can stay away from him long enough for it to be. I just don't see it. I don't see him staying away from him for that long. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Hawes. I think Hawes just verifies what we saw in that first one, that he's a damn fine fighter and he deserves a spot on this. He deserves a spot in the UFC. So,
I agree, sir. I think that's exactly what we're gonna see. So, the interesting thing here is that they're going to turn around from a fight like Philip Hawes and give us another full-on soup can matchup to open the fucking main card on the first event back in 2021 in Abu Dhabi, of all places. This isn't just a random fucking fight night in Vegas. They're opening the year in Abu Dhabi. # not my fight island. To be fair, Dusko Todorovic looked spectacular the last time he was out. But it was against a fucking soup can. So that legitimately takes a little bit off that shine. I have no fucking clue where they found Punahele Soriano.
Hawaii.
Like,
instead of a soup can, is he fresh 03 stop?
I know.
I cannot let like that statement was bad enough that my brain, even as tired as I am right now, my brain's just like, you better fucking not say that. Oh, that was bad. That was bad. I'm glad I stopped myself from saying that. It would have been real funny to myself for about 3 seconds before it was like, before I had to start apologizing to everybody in the state of Hawaii for what I just said.
No, to be fair, it's got potential. There's that. But when we've got fights like that fucking the Tafa match, when we've got Philip Hawes on the prelims that could have just easily been put in the opening spot of the main card, it feels a little odd to have something like this on the main, especially even if they wanted to keep this on the main card. Following this match is Joaquin Buckley versus Alessio Di Chirico.
That's going to be awesome.
That fight is going to be fun as shit. I'm telling you right now, that fight's going to be fun as shit. Why not open with that?
You want to talk about a dude who's riding some momentum? That Joaquin Buckley guy, I've heard some good things about him.
Well, and I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday. I almost feel like this is his redemption moment. The first time we saw him was on Fight Island against Kevin Holland, short notice.
Yep.
He was the one that ended up looking bad in his debut because he took it on short notice.
Now he's got notice. It's put a thumping on somebody.
And he's come a long way since that debut.
Yes, he has.
I like Alessio Di Chirico. He's got a lot of potential, but he reminds me in some of his movements and some of his styles a lot of Rick Story. And I don't mean that in a good way. He's got some talent. I think the best way to phrase it is he's readable. He's very readable. He doesn't he telegraphs his moves more than he should for someone who's already at this level. And against a guy as clearly capable as Joaquin Buckley with an arsenal like he's fucking got, that can be a very big problem. The counterpoint to that, though, is crazy and as talented as we've seen Buckley, he also doesn't have much of a fucking gas tank. If you can make him work and keep him working, you can get the advantage. It's just not going to be early in the fight.
Yeah.
That's kind of Kiriko's strong point. He's not a first round kind of guy. He's a long haul fighter. So if he can stay away from some of the weirdness that Buckley is going to be able to throw at him and drag it out to the third round and really weigh on him and make him work, this could get real interesting. But I still feel like no matter where it goes, no matter how long they drag it out, I think Buckley has got enough of what it takes to get this one done.
Yeah. Buckley's has done nothing but impress me since that Kevin Holland fight.
Well, and
from
even
the fucking Matrix knockout to his last fight where he just picked his spot. Like he just worked the game, and then once his spot opened, it was game over. So yeah. And he's just gotten better and better and better. So yeah, Buckley's impressed me.
Yeah, well, and look, to his credit, because I try to give credit where credit is due, even in that Kevin Holland fight, he had some fucking moments there. Kevin Holland clearly was more prepared, so it gave him the advantage. But even then, Buckley still had some fucking moments in that fight. So we've seen him constantly just letting himself get better and better and better and letting more out every time. And after that last match, man, I'm stoked to see where he can go.
Yep.
On the other side of that coin, though, folks I already know where they can go. Santiago Ponzinibbio is back off a 2.5-year fucking layoff, coming in to step in against Li Jingliang, the Leech himself. To be fair, the Leech has had a couple of rough outings lately, but to his credit, they have been in the last 3 years, which is more than Ponzinibbio can say.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Ponzinibbio had, keyword, had a 7-fight win streak, and that can't be completely dismissed. But what can be dismissed is the fact that he has not put on a pair of gloves and stepped in an octagon in almost 3 years at this point. So that 7-0 record that he had is out the goddamn window. It's not like he's starting again from scratch, but he's also not the guy who was 7-0 3 years ago.
Yeah.
This is a different game. These are different fighters. Li Jingliang is very, very different of a welterweight than the guys that Ponzinibbio was used to fighting when he made it to 7-0. Now, I will say, it absolutely does take fucking talent to make it 7-0 in the UFC. I don't care if you get 6 soup cans and a regular dude, you're not getting 7 soup cans in the UFC. So there were some legit wins in that run of his, but that was 3 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
I like Ponzinibbio. I don't hate him, but I don't think 3 years on a fucking shelf is going to bring you in and make you the world breaker that he's trying to convince people that he is. I think it's going to be competitive. I don't think this is going to be a runaway, but I think Lee is going to be able to take Ponzinibbio down, and he's going to give him a big fucking problem when he gets there. I see some Chinese elbows from hell coming in and ending this match. I don't think Ponzinibbio makes it to the 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, he could come in and show no rust at all, but I think that's very unlikely. And the game has changed. The game is ever evolving.
Yeah.
So, like, how much evolution did he bring to his game in the last 2.5 years?
3 fucking years, man.
Yeah, I mean, we could see a completely different fighter, but I don't think so. Because yeah, so I mean, I think the Leech is due one anyway.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of rough outings, so I think he's due one anyway. So yeah, I'll agree.
So moving on from there, that will bring us to our first co-main event to talk about this evening here. I gotta say, this co-main event would have had me so fucking excited if this were 2015.
Yeah.
2016, dare I say maybe early 2017. But we are in 2021. And the highlight reel that they put on Instagram today on the UFC's account showing Carlos Condit's highlights stretched back to 2009.
Yeah.
Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit would have been a spectacular co-main event in 2015, 2016, 2017. But at this point, the immortal is a skeleton and the natural born killer is really just killing time. Neither one of these dudes are anywhere near their prime when this fight would have legitimately been so exciting to watch. I've been a Carlos Condit fan for years. I've been a Matt Brown Hellbow fan for literally more than a decade. The fact that they're waiting this long into their fucking careers to put these two guys against each other in a co-main event spot on Fight Island, hashtag not my Fight Island, it makes me more sad than it does excited, legitimately.
Yeah.
Honestly, these guys have both lost so many steps in their game. It's really hard for me to call who I think is going to win. All I'm hoping for out of this fight is that when it's done, they both retire. This is the last fight on Carlos Condit's contract. Matt Brown has one more, but has said that he's not sure, quote unquote, what he's going to do after this match is over. I'm really hoping that this is the last time we see Carlos Condit and Matt Brown in an octagon, because I don't think it's going to be a good fight. And based on the amount of steps we've seen both of them lose up until this point, I don't want to see him lose much more, because a guy like this, I think this is realistically the best matchup they could give for each other, because both of these guys are the type of fighter that will knock the other out and call it a night, or bring a fucking war for the whole battle. There's not going to be one-sided ass whooping from either one of these dudes. Either they're both going to wear it like fucking badass soldiers and both go out on their fucking shields, or one of them's going to knock the other one out real fucking quick, and it's going to be a nice, clean, respectable, I say with air quotes, finish. But either way, I hope it's the last time we see them both in here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I like Matt Brown a lot. Carlos Condit, yeah, I could take him or leave him. But yeah, I think these crafty old men, they've been putting on some pretty decent fights. They've got some name recognition. I get it. I get why you put them in the co-main event. I don't think it's going to be all that fantastic of a fight. They both lost so many steps, but I'm rooting for Matt Brown because I like Matt Brown. It's like I have no other reason whatsoever. Just I like Matt Brown.
Understandable. What's up, Mr. Galti?
Evening, gentlemen. I guess I walked in at the co-main event for this Saturday's fight.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, a little behind the times, unfortunately. But, hey, I'm here. Whatever. Better late than never.
That's right.
What I want to know is who's going to end up breaking a hip first in this fight.
Right.
Look, both of them have their place in UFC history, and a legitimate place at that. However, with that being said, that's history, not present day. I wish them both the best after this fight, but they both better lay down their gloves at the same time at the end of the fight. Win, lose, or draw the both of them. Call it a day. Call it a career. This 10, maybe 12 years ago would have been an exciting main event fight, a very exciting main event fight. But this is way past its fucking prime for these two guys. And Matt Brown's been a knockout machine, and by that I mean he's been getting knocked out a lot.
On the receiving end, yeah.
Condit's trying to make this a late old man comeback thing, and it's not really working. However, with the way Brown's been taking knockouts, I have a feeling he's going to get knocked out, and Condit's just a man to do it. Which, to be honest, not good for Condit, because that means it raises his stock, and he's going to fight again. So, either way, this is a no-win situation for either one of these guys, because if either one of them beat each other, we got another big name under our belt, and that you do, because you're both big names in history. But I love both of them. They were both fantastic in their prime, but no, it's for lack of better terms, this is just, it's like a firework that failed the light.
It's the bottle rocket that goes up and never pops.
Where was the boom? The boom never came.
Boom never came. No, that's what I said. In 2015, this would have been an ideal co-main event. 2016, even maybe. 2017, pushing it. We're in 2021, man. The sell-by date on both of these guys' feet is long overdue, and the shelf life is spent. I love both of these guys. They both deserve a place in the Hall of Fame, but they don't deserve a place in a co-main event slot, in my opinion. The good news, however, is that brings us to our first meat and potatoes section, meat and potatoes portion of the show. This is one hell of a filet mignon main event. We have got Max Blessed Holloway coming in off of just two unbelievably infuriating back-to-back quote unquote losses, I say with air quotes, to Alexander Volkanovski, coming in against Calvin Kattar, who was on an absolute tear coming up through the division, just knocking the shit out of the who's who on his way up the ladder, trying to use Max Holloway as the next stepping stone to get his name in that title shot conversation. This is a legitimate tough fight for me to make a call on here, because Calvin Kattar is one hell of a legitimately well-rounded jack of all trades, master of none type of fighter. And that New England cartel that he comes up with is some bad motherfuckers. They are putting in work, and they are starting to establish themselves as a legitimate fucking name, as one of the recognizable and motherfuckers you need to worry about type of gyms in the UFC, in the mixed martial arts world, really. The problem is Max Holloway kind of got screwed twice in a row, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, really. There was no one-sidedness in either one of those fights against Alexander Volkanovski, and I can see where they gave the first one to Volkanovski. I've gone back and watched both of those fights multiple times this week. I promise you, I can almost quote both of those fights commentary-wise, start to finish. I've seen a bunch of times both of those fights because I wanted it fresh in my head. I can understand where they gave Volkanovski the first fight. I don't agree with it, but I can understand where they did. I don't see in any fucking universe how they gave him the rematch. That was clearly all Max. Max dropped him 6 times throughout the fight. 3 in the first fucking round. Like, I think Max got fucked. I think Max got fucked out of his belt twice because Dana didn't want to play ball anymore. But Calvin Kattar has legitimately earned his way to a fight of this caliber, in my opinion. The problem is, I just don't think he's at that Max Holloway level. I like Calvin Kattar. I really do. And I think that kid has got a fucking bright future. He's going to be a champion if he sticks at it. But I don't think he's got enough of what it takes to get past not just Max Holloway, but Max Holloway pissed off that he just got fucked twice in a row out of his belt, coming back to show why he's supposed to be the name at the top of the list for this division. I like Calvin, but as a man named Corey once said, there's levels. I think Max takes it. I think it's going to be a great fucking fight, but I think Max takes it.
I roll through this fight in my head so many different ways. And Calvin's an amazing fighter, and he's been on a tear, just an absolute tear. And I really hope he beats Max. I think he's put in the work. I think he deserves it. Do I think he can? Do I think he actually has the skills to beat Max? That's an entirely different question. That's where this, because Max Holloway is just so fucking good.
Everywhere.
He's so fucking good at what he does.
So
like
good at everything, man.
you don't expect, like, you could watch all of his fights and you're like, okay, I know what this game plan is going to be. This dude should be able to stop it, and he's not. No one's able to stop the game plan once he gets rolling on somebody. I'm rooting for Calvin, but I think realistically this fight goes to Max. I think Max is just treading water, waiting for someone else to take a shot at Volkanovski, and then he can step back in and try and get another shot. I think that's what's going on. And I'm like I said, I'm rooting for Calvin Kattar. I think he's got all the promise in the world, and I think he absolutely deserves a spot on the card. And I hope he wins, but I don't know how he's going to beat Max. Max is too complete a fighter. And like I said, once he gets his plans going, whatever the plan happens to be for that individual, you just don't stop him. And he's one of the all-time greats for a reason. He's first ballot UFC Hall of Famer, period. No offense or buts. So, yeah, I don't know how he'll do it, but yeah, I don't know how Calvin Kattar could beat him, but I'm rooting for him. But I think Max Holloway wins this fight. That's my official take. Max is going to take him.
I'm in agreement with that. I think Max wins this fight. However, I think he's going to do it by pure output alone. Because when you watch his fights, I also going to say this because in quotation marks for those that are just listening to the podcast variety of this, he starts in a slow fashion. That's all in quotes there. And I say slow because he's 145. They're not really slow starts for anybody at that. But as you watch him fight, his output gets more and more and more each round. By the time that fifth round is in there, if you don't got the gas tank, you aren't stopping shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you watch every one of his fights, that's how they've all gone. The people who have stopped him, aka Conor McGregor, he stopped him fucking early before he could get into that role. So, I mean, you got to look at those types of things where if this goes the full 25, Calvin doesn't stand a chance in the fucking world just because the point output is going to be fucking amazing. And look, Max doesn't throw haymakers. He throws straight down the pipe, fucking accurate shots to conserve energy. And I say conserve energy lightly because of how many he's actually fucking throwing. But you conserve energy when you hit the target. When you miss, that's more energy you have to do to stop your punch and bring it back. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, Calvin is in the right spot. I 100% agree that he definitely deserves this shot against Max right now. He's definitely earned his way to this fight. The one thing that he has going for him, I think he's got a good bit more power than Max does in his strikes. The thing he does not have going for him, he's not as accurate with them. However, if you go and you look at some of the stuff on Calvin Kattar, he's got his average knockdowns quite a bit more than Max, but Max is more of a point style fighter that his ended knockouts eventually because he's just hit the motherfucker so many goddamn times. Whereas Kattar, a lot of the times you see when his end up in those, it's not because of the amount of damage, it's because he hits the button hard.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, there is that chance that Max can get put away, but look at the strikes he took from Volkanovski. Volkanovski is a fucking goddamn animal when it comes to who hits hard in the 145.
Yes.
He's at the top of that list. I don't give a shit what anybody says. So being as Max could take those and not go 99, I'm pretty sure that Kattar's not going to do that. And good luck getting him down because we always say, yeah, take him to the ground because he can't swing off his back. But we see it time and time again when people are fighting him, nobody takes him down. They all want to stand and bang. And I get it. 145, that's mostly bangers. You don't see too many people that are ground game work at 145, which is all right. Makes for exciting fights, makes for exciting main events like this is going to be. Unfortunately, in Kattar's position here, I'm going to say due to his not lack of skill, but his lack of amount of time that he's been in the sport is what's going to fuck him here. It's not that I don't think he can get it done, because he definitely can, but I don't think he gets it done just purely on the way that Max fights. I just don't see it happening. However, look, 2 L's back to back like that, albeit controversial as they may be, those L's are still going to sit in your memory. They're still going to sit on your fucking record. So guess what? That could put a tamper on his head. We don't know. We'll know fucking coming back here. Although I said the same, we said the same thing about a one Mr. fucking what's his goddamn name? I'm losing my fucking mind now because I can't fucking remember. But anyhow, wherever I was going with this, that those L's don't necessarily mean that he's not going to be there mentally. I think he's been in this sport too goddamn long to let a couple of L's get the best of him, especially with the title run he was fucking on up until he lost the belt. And dude's still a champ. I'm going to say I'm on the Blessed Express on this one. If I don't remember where the fuck I was going with that earlier, we'd be in good shape.
Like,
Were you thinking Jose Aldo?
No, Brian Ortega.
Right, Ortega.
Yeah.
There we go.
I was gonna say, we were just talking about somebody who was in that same fucking position not long ago.
I had to look real quick. I was like, wait a minute. I know who I'm thinking of. I had to quick run some fighters through my head real quick, and that was it.
No, I absolutely agree with Fresh's point there. I think that Max has absolutely been treading water, just letting somebody else get in there on the Volkanovski train. And to be fair, I don't think Ortega versus Volkanovski is going to be a bad fight, but based off what we saw Max do to Ortega, and then Alex spent 50 minutes in there with Max. Alex spent 50 minutes in the cage with Max. Brian couldn't last 20.
Yep.
I don't see that going well for Ortega. And I like Brian Ortega. I'm a fucking T-City fan, and I have been since he first fucking got in there. But he wasn't that much different against the zombie than he was against Max. And we saw what 20 minutes of Max can do to Ortega. And now Alex has got 50 minutes of practice with Max leading into this Ortega fight. I think it's going to go bad for him. And then I think Max is going to jump right the fuck back in there. And I think we're going to see that trilogy match. And, you know, this might be the fight that we need to see to confirm that Max is still that fucking dude that's standing right at the goddamn top. I don't think it's going to be a blowout against Cater by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, Cater's got so much fucking potential. That kid can be a goddamn champion in the future. Just not yet. We aren't there yet. He can get there, though. So, with that being said, that will bring us to the ridiculousness that is going to be the stupid early Wednesday card for Chiesa versus Magny. Now, the interesting thing about this prelim versus the first prelim that they're putting on is that this prelim is pretty goddamn fire. For another fight night, this card is actually pretty fucking well stacked compared to the last one here. So they're opening the fucking card with Omari Akhmedov, who just fought against Chris Weidman, and Tom fucking Breeze. Like, this is going to be a great opening match. Tom Breeze is the newest UK dude to make his way to the UFC, and he made his way in with a fucking bang, to say the least. Tom Breeze has got all the capability in the world. I don't know that the fight against Weidman was the best representation of Akhmedov we were going to get, but it got him a 13 behind his name, so he's in the top 15 rank, coming off an ass whooping from a fucking aging out Weidman. We'll see where he goes going forward. But the first one that I want to jump right to real quick here is one that I talked about a little bit in the news segment here. Mike Davis, who is a crazy tall, long fucking lightweight to begin with, welcoming the Cage Warriors dual champion, 155 and 175 champion Mason Jones, making his debut into the UFC here. Again, I got nothing against Mike Davis, but I'm very curious to see how Mason Jones plays this one out. For a guy who has been holding the 55 and 70 pound belts both, that's not necessarily a champ situation that we see a lot of. Very similar to Israel Adesanya going to try and be the first 85 and 205 champ. We haven't seen that connection made yet either. 55 to 70 is a big gap. We've seen the 45-50, we've seen the 25-35. We haven't seen that 55-75 gap bridged, and that's exactly what Mason Jones is known for. Coming in against the guy who's got a little bit of experience here in the UFC, but still relatively new in the fight world overall, Mike Davis. I'm kind of curious to see what Mason Jones really has to offer that UFC. I think it's going to be a fun fucking matchup.
I think so too, because Mason Jones is a crazy motherfucker.
Right?
Dude, you have to be crazy to go from 155 to 170
I was
and
going to say to run,
belts.
to run that gap. Yeah, you got to have a screw loose in there somewhere. And
Yeah, Mason Jones always looks like he's having fun fighting too. So
it's always a happy dude in the cage. It's
Yeah.
kind of a little scary, right?
He's always got a little bit of a grin. He's always, he plays it up for the camera a little bit. He hands it up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And he always looks like he's having fun. And that's like he's had a ton of success outside the UFC. So let's see what he brings I'm picking him just for the sheer screw loose.
I think the best description we could give Mason Jones' style, he's very Landweerian.
He is. Like you might take him down, but he's popping right back up. He's like a weeble.
Right? Yeah, and that if you manage to get him down, he's gonna punch you from the bottom. Like he's not gonna worry about getting out. He's gonna fucking hurt you.
It's gonna be you're gonna pay no matter where you're at with Mason Jones. So I'm I like him.
With it.
What I'm wondering is how are the bright lights going to affect him? Because don't get me wrong, you've had champ status for a while,
right?
And you've had air quotes bright lights on you for a while. But coming to the UFC, that is a new ball game. Don't get me wrong. Don't change who the fuck you are for it. No, get in there, do your fucking thing, because you didn't get to where you're at now by fucking changing too much. Evolve a little bit, do your thing. I think he's going to do fucking awesome. The other thing that I'm questioning for him is how is fighting in Abu Dhabi going to be? Because that's a big fucking change of pace from fighting stateside.
No, he's Cage Warriors champ.
Oh shit, no, England,
Yeah.
Still,
So this
big
is
difference.
That big of a stretch for him. Yeah. No,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It'd be a couple hours change, but not as much as it would be for Mike Davis, who's the Cali boy, who's going to be a huge upset from him. Like time-wise, it's going to fuck Mike Davis up a little bit. Okay. I think it'll be a little inconvenient, but I don't think it'll be too bad for Jones.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. Not to mention, I like seeing some more of those fucking fighters coming out of the UK fucking European Union as a whole.
Tom Breeze opening up, Mason Jones coming in here in the middle of the fucking pack. Like
a lot of those guys, they're not getting enough airtime here stateside because a lot of the stateside people aren't seeing these UK fights or anything like that because not everybody is watching Fight Pass, so they're not getting to see a lot of this, or they're not going out and finding stream on the internet where it's because it's a smaller promotion, they're doing the shit for free on fucking YouTube or whatever fucking streaming service that they use. It'll definitely be interesting to see him come in. I'm hoping he doesn't get frightened off by the bright lights, though. I'm hoping we see fireworks out of him because, to be honest, the lightweight division could use a little more fireworks.
Yeah, Mason Jones would certainly provide that.
Because I mean,
there's a lot of fun at the top of lightweight, but I agree. The rest of the division has got there's room for growth. I think would be a good.
Because what in lightweight you've got? Let's see, I can count them all on maybe 7 fingers for excitement. 6.
I was saying 6 is what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So not a whole lot, But you mean add another one to the mix? Somebody's going to bring something to the table, and not to mention, if he comes out and he starts talking shit about Conor McGregor right away, I'm all fucking in. Just because you win, talk shit about Conor McGregor, please do it, because that's going to get you a lightning pass up to the top, and I want to see it. Just because something where you guys are pretty close to being countrymen and out of the fucking same area. Let's see it.
Right. Same weight ring, essentially. Like that
I
same
just see that
fucking
interview.
gray
He's
area. Yeah.
He's getting done with his fight. He goes over to the interview. You know what the problem in this world is? The bloody Irish.
Right.
It just goes from there.
Either that or just
That got incredibly
you're
racist.
taking everything I work for, Conor McGregor.
Yep. They took our jobs.
That's right. Oh, but the best part about that is that when that fight's over, we get another of one of the most, at least for me, exciting introductions into the UFC. We get to meet Francisco Figueiredo for the first time. Davidson's older brother, who was inspired by his younger brother becoming champion to get back into the MMA ways that he got his little brother into when they were kids. This is potentially Figgy 2.0, but taller. They're very similar in style, supposedly. They're very similar in fight technique since they've been training together most of their lives, but Francisco is taller than Davison is. So imagine Figgy with reach.
What I'm excited to see about that is just how similar they are in fight style. And to be honest, is he as good as his brother? Because if he's half as good, that's scary for that fucking vision.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that could be real goddamn fun. And they've already said they have no qualms about fighting each other. Unlike the Pitbull brothers who said they would, and then when it came down to actually time to do that, they backed out. The Figueiredo brothers have already said, I'll beat his ass for $2. You're going to tell me you're going to put a belt on the line? Hell yes, I'm in. I like that. That's the spirit I want to fucking hear. Two dudes who are willing to crack. Oh, you're my brother? Cool. Then you better wear the blue gloves, bitch. Like, I'm down for it. So I'm excited to see what Figgy 2.0 could potentially bring us here.
Does he do the red stripe on the opposite side of his head?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I hope so. I really fucking hope so. Or do it the other way. Do it all red with a blonde stripe.
Yeah.
Or better yet, does his brother corner him?
I think he's going to. I think Davidson is going to be in Francisco's corner.
And since they train together, if they have to fight each other, I know this is a stretch. Who's cornering for each of these guys?
Right? Yeah. Who goes where in the?
Or do they just say, "Fuck you guys, you're on your own"?
Right. With those two crazy motherfuckers, it's who's got the bigger water buffalo.
That's right. He's riding water buffalo to the ring.
Yeah. No, I'm
actually fight each other. They fight each other's water buffalo.
Right. No, I got nothing against Jerome Rivera, but this is the Figgy show, son. This is the
let's
Figgy
see.
show.
Let's see if we got a. Be cool to see a double Figgy because Figgy's one of my favorites. He might be my favorite fighter going these days, just because he's so tough. And
it's hard not to be, man. It's hard for him not to be your favorite fighter right now. It really is.
Yeah. He's another dude that just looks like he loves fighting.
Well, and he's working on his English now.
Mm-hmm.
He knows enough English to have called Cejudo out in English very clearly. Come on, fat boy. That made me giggle way more. That made me giggle way more than it should have when he looked right in the camera, calling out Cejudo and said, "Come on, fat boy." I was like, "Oh no, he's learning English and it's the shit talking kind first."
Yeah.
Well, I love
that because he's sitting there talking shit in Portuguese, and the guy says something to him, and he's like looks over at him, and he's like, "Come on, fat boy." Like, you practice that line.
Yep. Yeah, so the fact that we could have two Figgies in the UFC now, kicking ass and taking names, I'm on fucking board, man. I'm on board so fucking hard.
Like the Shevchenkos.
Right, like the boy Shevchenkos. That's right. The interesting thing from there is that we've got another last minute late replacement here. I'm gonna try this one. This gentleman making his debut might have the newest name that we're gonna have trouble with a lot. Dalcha Lung. Hang on. Dalcha Lungiambula, I believe.
I think you're
If
pretty
I'm
close.
not trying it again.
I'm calling him
That's as close
Dracula.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it. I'm down with it.
Oh,
Taking
If
on
that's
the
not his, if
short
that's not
notice.
his nickname, then it certainly should be. He
It
certainly should be
goddamn
Dracula.
right. But that gentleman, Dracula, is stepping in to take on a short notice replacement of Marcus, the Bad Joker cosplayer Perez. Marcus Perez at this point, I'm content with them keeping him as a punching bag. Keep him in the unranked section. Keep giving him gentlemen making their debut like Dracula here. As long as they keep him on a prelim somewhere, I don't mind how many times that guy does his shitty Joker cosplay at the weigh-ins. Makeup is all great, but if all you can do is your makeup and then you get your ass kicked in the fight, you're not going to get invited to keep doing your makeup too much longer. That's kind of the point where we're at here. Like, we get it. You cosplay, great. You're a fighter for a fucking living, not a cosplayer, Marcus. Get your shit together, son. So Dracula from the Congo is coming in to beat the shit out of the Brazilian Joker cosplayer, I think.
Dude, Dracula looks like a mean motherfucker.
I'm going Dracula. He looks like a fucking world breaker, and I don't like Joker to begin with, so.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Perez has been on a skid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, two fights in a row. Obviously that's a skid. You're on a skid and you've looked shittier every fight.
Yeah. When you open low and then go down from there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, Dracula looks mean. I'm rooting for Dracula on this one. That's just like he's a ripped up, scarred up, mean looking dude.
Congolese badass at middleweight, man.
Yeah, I'm voting for Dracula.
my question is, do they build everybody from the Congo like that? Because I mean, let's go back. Look how many fighters that we've seen come to the UFC from Congo.
I was just thinking.
All of them are fucking yoked to the goddamn gills.
Every one of them.
Look, the dude's got no fucking neck. It's all fucking traps.
Oh yeah, his shoulders
Like,
connect to his earlobes.
You don't have to worry about him getting choked out. He's got no fucking neck. And he looks like he stares at him one wrong way, and fucking the bad Joker over there is gonna fall off a building somewhere. But you know, I guess when there's no more Comic Cons currently because of the current state of the world, you have to get your cosplay in somewhere.
Yep,
This
might as well be the way it is.
probably not the best place to do it, but you know, you're already gonna get the paint smacked off your face anyways, so fuck it, I guess. Enjoy it because you're gonna look like Batman just got done with you. It's
Where is she?
yeah. You know, that would be the only thing greater is I'm hoping this dude has done enough homework in a short amount of time and goes and shows up with a fucking bat cowl.
Brings
Like
the
the
cowl
whole-
to the weigh-ins.
Like the whole fucking cowl and just drops it on. That would be fucking fantastic.
You want to win every fan over immediately? That would fucking do it.
But yeah, fucking Marcus Perez. That dude, he's good for is a weigh-ins. And don't get me wrong, that's great for publicity for the UFC, but at the same time, you have to put up or shut up. I mean, there's a reason why you don't see too many lines out of the Joker in most films unless he's the main character.
Yeah. Well, Chael said it best. Winning solves everything.
Yep.
We've yet to see Perez do that. So you better get your shit together, son, because otherwise Dracula is about to take a bite out of that ass, I think.
Yep, he's going to the back page of the comic book.
Yeah, somebody's about to get Arkhamed. Coming up right after that, ironically enough, the return of Chinese Shakira, whose name that I butchered last time and I'm not going to attempt again, taking on a wonderful no-name soup can, LA. That, though, will bring us right to what was almost a really fun, predictable matchup, I would say, which still has potential to be a very fun matchup, but a little less predictable. Ricky Simone stepping in to welcome Gaetano Perello in his UFC debut. Unfortunately, Gaetano is a literal 3-day last-minute replacement, and he is one of those guys that is so new, they still haven't unlocked his character in the game of the UFC website yet. He's got the grayed out, no-name, non-conform fucking body type, so I'm excited to see Ricky Simone back in there, and I wish Mr. Perello the best of luck, but making your debut, short notice, Fight Island against a dude with a full camp, you're up against tall odds. I'll put it that way. You're up against some very tall odds.
Yeah, looks like Gaetano's on a 2-fight win streak. In method. So
Interesting.
yeah, who knows where the hell he's actually coming out of.
I was going to say, yeah, so that doesn't tell us a whole hell of a lot.
2-fight win streak though.
Two-fight win
Looking to
streak means you
continue
at
his
least got a
2-fight win
chance.
streak.
To be on.
What's Ricky on?
He's won. He won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, he's got a better win streak than Ricky does.
Right. Yeah.
Where Ricky fucked up.
Don't tell him where that fight's going.
Right. Yeah. Ricky had a couple of rough bumps in the road there for a minute, but I think he's getting back on track. And unless Mr. Perello here has really got his shit together, making your debut on Fight Island against a dude with a full camp who's got something to fucking prove, good luck, sir. Good luck.
Hats off to him. That's all I can say. This
Right.
like Ricky Simone had a full head of steam at one point, and then all of a sudden his hair went missing, and that fucking steam came right the fuck off. It's like that was what was holding it in. Hopefully now he's figured out how to cap that and get back on the train, but that's still a tall order.
Reshape the mullet, man.
That's a tall order to crack on fucking 3 days.
Yeah, it is. But that'll bring us into the main card, and that makes me smile because this fight they are opening this main card with, we have been waiting for since the middle of last year. This is another one of those fights that for whatever reason just kept getting bumped. They would announce a date 8-10 weeks out, and then as we got closer they would move it, or they would just pull it off the card to be quote unquote rebooked. I'm ready to fucking see it. Matt Schnell versus Tyson Nam is going to be the fireworks this card needs to get people paying attention right from the fucking jump. Matt Schnell is a tiny little brawler, and Tyson Nam is a wind-up doll whose wind-up never stops going. That dude is such a bouncy motherfucker, and it's not like he's bouncy for the sake of just bouncing around. He's just so fluid that he's got that Bruce Lee-esque natural bop to him, no matter what he's doing, where he's at in the ring. He's just always so light on his feet, and that makes him really hard to connect with. But Matt Schnell's pretty goddamn good at what he does. And if he can't connect with you at range, he's going to run in and he's going to grab you and put you on the fucking ground. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Honestly, I don't have a clear, definitive winner. I really want Tyson Nam to win this because I'm a bigger fan of Tyson than I am of Matt in this situation. But much like Fresh was saying earlier, I want Tyson to win, but I feel like Matt has a little bit more of an advantage here. I feel like he just has a little bit more brute strength to help him with everything that he's going to have to do against a bouncier Tyson. And as much as I want to see Tyson take this one, I just kind of feel like Matt's going to be able to get it in the long run.
I tend to agree with that. I think Matt Schnell is probably due a win more than Tyson Nam is at this point. I think he's a little bit better all around fighter at this point of their careers. I mean, Tyson Nam has way more fights than Matt Schnell has. Tyson Nam, he's a lot of fun to watch, but he can get caught. And Matt Schnell is certainly a dude who will catch you.
He's gonna try, yeah.
So my brain is telling me Matt Schnell. No matter what, this is going to be a great fight. This is probably fight of the night right here. If I had to take a wild guess, this one right here is probably going to be. Let me look at what's left. Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got a damn good chance.
It's got a damn good chance of being fight of the night. Because these two are not going to stop until somebody's done, and I think Tyson Nam will be done first. So.
I don't know about that. I have this odd, strange feeling. Tyson Nam coming off of 2 back-to-back fucking knockouts last year. 1 second round, and then a first round in 33 seconds. I have this strange feeling Tyson Nam's he's gonna stay on that fucking pony. However, Schnell is a different kind of beast. However, he did just get knocked out as well, though, in his last outing, if I remember correctly. But either way, this is going to be I think it'll end up being fireworks. I don't think that we're going to see Nam get the fucking knockout as much as I would like to see it, because, I am a big fan of Tyson Nam, but Matt Schnell, he is definitely a good bit stronger than a lot of the guys that Tyson Nam has been fighting lately, and I think that might be the deciding factor. However, when you're dealing with flyweights, God fucking only knows. I mean,
Yep.
you're 125ers. That's like 2 fucking bottle rockets in the middle of the ring that are just going to keep going. And you're wondering, when is the bang? When is the bang? When is the bang? It'll come eventually, but they go and go. Or you see a bunch of fucking bangs. One of the two.
Yep.
By the way, I think it'll be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and go against the grain here. I'm going to play the heel on this one. I say Tyson Nam takes it. I think that 2-fight knockout streak that's going to have him riding high and doing him well.
Yeah, I don't even think that's playing heel. I think both Meter and I want Tyson Nam to win.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are both calling Schnell, then I'm calling Nam. That makes me the heel in this case.
There we go.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, it works.
We'll agree to disagree.
I absolutely would love to see Tyson Nam win this one. I really, really would. Something's telling me that Matt's got his number here. We'll see, though. We'll see real quick.
Great.
That being said, that's going to bring us into what I can only describe as visually what you get when you order a pair of fighters off of Wish. Lerone Murphy versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Lerone Murphy really looks kind of like a dollar store version of Leon Edwards, and Douglas Silva de Andrade looks like what happens if you order Willem Dafoe on Wish. And if you guys think I'm joking, go to UFC.com/events and you will see on this fight night card both of their pictures. I'm not bullshitting you, folks.
He does look like a younger Brazilian. Willem Dafoe.
Right? I kind of like. I style-wise, I think Lerone Murphy has more to offer here, but I have a feeling that the Brazilian Geico Caveman is just going to be able to overpower him and get this fight where he needs it to be so he can win and get his 15%. This is another one. I want Murphy to win, but I feel like Andrade is just going to have that raw caveman strength that's unstoppable.
So, are you saying we're going to get the William Dafoe of Boondock Saints?
We might.
There was a firefight.
Right.
Although I will say that dude is built like a shit brick house, though. When you look at him, yeah.
Yes, he is.
Like they put William Dafoe's body on a fighter.
I was just gonna say, if you took Zangief and flesh toned him and then put Willem Dafoe's face on him.
Yeah, did away with the hair.
Or not Zangief, Blanca rather. Blanca. The OG Blanca from the movie. Skin tone him up, put Willem Dafoe's face on him, Douglas Silva the Android.
Yeah, this fight for me, this is kind of a meh. Don't get me wrong, it's something to watch because I'm just glad it's going to be on ESPN because then I can actually watch it on my phone while I'm working. Not gonna lie, it's going to sit right here in front of my monitor while I'm peeking down and talking to people, being, "Ooh, oh, what was that you were saying?"
I'm sorry, my connection must have got fuzzy there for a second.
Whoever in their right fucking mind that thought Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Time is a great time to start prelims. Don't get me wrong. I am not mad at that at all because Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning in my job, we're usually fairly dead. So I might get to catch a couple of the prelims without interruption, which is nice.
Yep.
But by the middle of the day, that's when we start to fucking actually working. So it's going to kind of fuck this. However, for this fight, I'm going purely off the William Dafoe look. I have to give it to Dafoe. Just the look alone.
No.
Dollar Store Leon Edwards just doesn't do it for me.
I have a hard time deciding on this one. I mean, as much as I think Willem Dafoe might get this, I mean, Larone's undefeated at this point.
Is he still undefeated?
Yeah.
I thought he had one L.
No,
he
he's-
doesn't. No shit.
Yeah, Larone's still undefeated.
That's 9-0-1. Okay. So I totally saw that wrong. I thought he was 9-1.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
so I'm-
first fight in the UFC was a draw, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna give it to Larone. I'm gonna wear the heel hat this time. I think Larone's gonna take Willem Dafoe. I don't think this is Spider-Man Willem Dafoe. I don't think he's taken the Goblin serum at this point. So
Can't bring bombs to the octagon.
that's right.
That's right.
You might be able to ride your glider to the ring, but you have
I
to
was
leave
going
it
to
outside.
say, the glider's only getting you to the ring. You can't use it in the match.
Yep. You got to have it valeted from there
Right.
because you might not be able to ride it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think the cup check fucking ringside referee is going to let you go right in with that. Oh, man. But that will bring us to one of the most interesting stylistic lady matchups we have seen, in my opinion, in a hot fucking minute here. Roxanne the Happy Warrior Modafferi versus Viviane Araujo. This, at a base level, their styles are very similar. They're both grappling orientated, but not afraid to throw some fucking hands. But that's kind of where they branch off. Roxanne would most definitely rather take that blue belt and keep your ass on the ground and wrap you the fuck up. Whereas Viviane would much rather stay on the feet and dance around and piece you the fuck up from distance here. It's going to be interesting. I think this one is going to come down to who's going to be able to initiate their game plan, because both of them at this point are seasoned enough to where they can develop and stick with the game plan for an opponent throughout a match here. Clearly, at least if they've done their homework, Viviane's going to be wanting to stay at range, whereas Roxy's going to be wanting to make a smooth transition into a takedown because she's been a little sloppy as of late, and I'm sure they've been working on that. So she's going to want to try to get her way in on a smooth takedown to put Viviane on her back, either grounded pound out or get a nice sub to move it out. But I think Viviane's got good enough striking. This is going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be easy for Roxanne, but I think it's going to be undeniable. I think it might take a minute to kind of catch the groove or to get her timing down. But I think once Modafferi gets that fucking high gear clicked and really starts to grapple and starts to grind on Araujo, I think she's going to be able to find the timing fairly easy. And then it's just going to be a matter of when and where she's going to want to put the power in to end the match here. I like Viviane Araujo. I think she's another one that's got a great future ahead of her if she continues to round out her game, but she's not there yet. Modafferi has just got too many different tools at her disposal that she's too fucking good with. I think it's going to be close. I think Viviani's definitely going to give her a fucking challenge, but I think the Happy Warrior is going to get in there and do fucking work.
I agree. And Roxanne Modafferi, like, you know where this game plan is going to go. She's got those weird ass strikes of hers.
Yeah.
She comes at weird angles. She bounces around at weird. She bounces around where everything she does is strange. But eventually she works you against the cage. She gets you where she wants you, and then works the takedown. And then once you're on the ground, you're kind of playing exactly where she wants you. She's really good at controlling things on the ground. She's really good at controlling things in the clinch. She's not so good when she winds up in the reverse. Like if she gets put into the cage or she gets put onto the ground, she's not nearly as good at working things. She has the things that she likes to do, and she's generally pretty good at getting them to that point. But she'll struggle in a fight with someone who's equally as good at blocking those things out and keeping her away from her game plan, which is always get you on the ground. I don't really see anything in this one where Viviana can keep her away from her game plan. I don't think she's quite as well-rounded enough to keep her out. If Roxanne decides to power her into the fence, which is where inevitably things will go. Either that or we'll see a slugfest. I mean, we've seen Roxanne go into a slugfest before too. She's not afraid to do that either. So
Very true.
Two ladies that do like to take it to the ground a bit. I mean, this could turn into, wrestler versus wrestler slugfest. So that would be fun. But I don't see that. I see Roxanne eventually getting this on the ground and working her way to a victory one way or another. I think she's seasoned enough to where she can really work that game plan against someone who's has a little bit less experience. And she's riding a solid 1-fight win streak. Roxanne is.
That's true.
Which is pretty good for her these days.
That's one more than she usually gets in a row.
Yep.
Although I will say she is good at knocking people off who are on their way up, and Viviani has been one of those people. I mean, look what she did to another fucking hype train that we saw.
I was very happy to see her beat the shit out of Macy Barber, knee injury aside.
Blew her knee out by looking at her.
Don't get me wrong, not a fan of the blown out knee, because no matter how much you dislike a person, you don't want any things that are going to completely fuck up their career, because it's not an opportunity, it's a fucking career. Fuck you, Dana White. Because I'm still on that from last year. That's not going anywhere, by the way. But yeah, fucking Roxanne Modafferi, she's got 4 times as many professional bouts as fucking Fiona Araujo has. Oh, don't get me wrong, Araujo's good in her own right. But that experience, that's going to go a long fucking way in this fight. The only way Araujo wins this is if she keeps it on the feet. Because to be honest, I have a soft spot for Roxanne Modafferi as far as her fight style and just the kind of person she is. She's genuinely a nice fucking person.
Yeah.
Who just happens to fight. Like you could see her being a middle school teacher or a fucking kindergarten teacher.
Librarian is always like elementary school librarian is what I always pictured her as.
Yeah. She's just so genuinely nice. And I'm going, she just happens to be a pretty goddamn good fighter. And I say pretty goddamn good because she's been in the UFC for a while and she's got more than a 500 record in the fucking women's division. You don't see that too often out of a lot of UFC women fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
So I'm just saying, Araujo's going to have a rough night of keeping it on the feet. If she doesn't keep it on the feet, Modafferi's top game is fucking fantastic. For only a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, her top game is phenomenal.
Yep.
You don't see her come off from fucking riding and ground and pound too often. So, and she does have some pretty mean ground and pound when she gets to use it, which is fucking great. And you do see a couple of submission attempts here and there from her, but her ground and pound for being a blue belt, fucking fantastic. It really is. But definitely Modafferi. I don't. In fact, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say she finishes her in 2.
Or
Yeah, I'm taking a long pull here, but I'm gonna say mid to late second round. I think she's gonna get it done.
Interesting.
I can see it.
I'm not
I can
saying
see
it
it for
can't
sure.
happen. That's not how I predicted it, but that doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that I don't think that could happen.
No,
you're wrong.
I've just got an image of Roxanne Modafferi. Like you're tuning in over to book. Next thing you know, you're unconscious because she's got you in the rear naked. Like you're trying to get away without paying your fine. Guess what? That's the Happy Warrior, motherfuckers.
You should have turned
Your
in that
wallet's
Goosebumps book
just
2
laying
weeks
on
ago.
Wallet's just laying on your chest, empty. What you get for not paying your fine.
Fucking Goosebumps. God damn it.
Right. Good times. Good times. But that will bring us into the quote unquote people's co-main event, as it were, the third from last matchup. This one is one of the more what kind of matches that they threw into the card here. Ike Villanova versus Vinicius Mojera.
Yeah, how did this wind up on the card at all?
Yeah, I don't know how this made it on the main card, I should say, because I have no problem with this as a prelim fight. But this on the main card feels a little weird because I'm not saying Ike Villanova is full on fucking can mode, but if that dude is any closer to a can status, he's going to start wearing Campbell's labeled clothing. Like, that thin line is so fucking thin. And the problem is we've seen him have a couple of moments, but it's literally only been that. It's just a couple of moments in his opportunity / career that have really stood out. Other than that, it's lackluster and slow. He's one of those dudes that you just yell at him the whole time, go! And he doesn't. He just doesn't. He's a fucking human sloth. He just can't go. And against a guy like Vinicius, that's not exactly a good idea because he's pretty fucking quick. I don't see this fight making it to the third round. How they got Villanova down to 205 to begin with, I'm not sure. But good on you. I'm guessing that nutritionist has earned his fucking salary, but I don't think poor Ike Villanova sees round 3 in this time. I think he goes to sleep in the second.
I mean, Vinicius has lost 4 in a row too. Like, what on earth justifies either of these guys being on this card at this point?
Right. No, I just think
the ladies deserve this spot.
Yeah, no. Getting Villanova down to light heavyweight,
yeah,
I think is like, it was one of those like, if you lose 10 pounds, we'll buy you that new blue dress you like kind of thing. And they were like, if you can make it to light heavyweight, we'll put you on the card in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. I that's the only thing I can think of.
What's the chance?
And I'm trying to imagine him on a treadmill too.
Right.
Isaac Villanova, like, start the treadmill on one and like he's trying to go,
Just
and like
ripping.
you see him, he's doing one of those numbers. Like he's holding on to the treadmill as hard as he can.
Superman in it.
Trying to hold on the one setting. I don't know why either of these guys are on this card at this point. I just don't. I can't fathom it. I can't pick because neither of them deserve this spot.
That's fair.
They both. But Villanova. He's lost 2 in a row, and
That's badly. At
Murray has lost 4 in a row. How does that justify a spot on a pay-per-view card? How does that authorize you, the people's the people's co-main event.
Right.
Like the ladies deserve the co-main event. Like if there's any justice, Dana will rearrange his card a little bit before
we get to Wednesday, yeah.
before the fight on next Wednesday, and give the ladies the people's co-main event, because that the ladies fight will be far more interesting than this fight will be.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
You know, my biggest question, other than why is this in this spot and why is this on the main card, is when they're showing highlights of these two, what highlights are they going to show? Are they going to show Villanueva getting knocked out by Sherman on his return fight to the UFC?
Right.
And what are they going to show for Maria over there? Not a goddamn thing. These two, it's going to be, they're going to make up shit on the spot. Mark my fucking words. Anybody, all of those poor announcers that had to do fucking research on this fight so that way they could have something to talk about, they're going to be pulling shit from like the fucking early 2000s when these guys were on the fucking intermediate leagues.
I don't even think they do that. I bet you, now that I think about it, I bet you this is going to be that fight that as they're introducing it, they're showing training footage.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a fucking highlight to be seen. You're going to see Vinicius working on his boxing, and you're going to see Ike on a fucking treadmill or in a jog behind a fucking trainer on a bike, like fucking Punch-Out style. This is going to be
it's going to be him behind a van with a guy in a fishing pole and a donut.
Right. Almost got it. You got to be closer than that.
Yeah, because
so close.
When I saw this one on this card, I threw up in my mouth a little bit because it literally makes me sick of, why would you put this on the main card? There are plenty of other good fights on here that you could moved up. And to be honest, this deserves a pay-per-view for this reason. An early prelim where nobody watches the early prelim.
Bury this goddamn fight.
Yeah, bury this fight. Why is it here? And although maybe this makes this a little more interesting because they've told both of them, guess what? Either you win or you're getting walking papers.
Gone. Yeah.
And, you know, for trimming the fat, they could have trimmed this clean out of the UFC and nobody would have noticed.
They could have clipped both of these fucking guys and nobody would have been sad, really. But I think that actually could be a good point. That could have been one of those where they literally told them both, like, look, one of you is going to win and stay employed and the other one's going to lose and you're going to end up in Bellator next week if you're lucky.
Yeah. PFL's got a season coming up. Just saying.
Right. Here they got some openings. Looks like we got an over full roster, so somebody gets to keep their job and somebody's going to go fight somewhere else next week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, I have no, yeah. The next fight is far more fascinating.
Yes, absolutely. So the co-main event, and to be fair, even this co-main event has been switched around because I don't remember the last time we had a card. I think pretty much every card in 2020 had at least one fight get bumped off. And 2021 has clearly been no exception. This fight was originally a completely different fight as well. But the fight that we do end up having now for our co-main event is Warley Alves versus another of last summer's Fight Island standouts, Munir Laziz. Munir Laziz is one of, I believe he is the gentleman who's, let me make sure I got this correct, Dana White's son's best friend's local Abu Dhabi guide recommended that Dana watch Laziz last summer when they first came over to Fight Island. And after watching some of his fights and then having a last minute opening on Fight Island last summer, Laziz came in, looked like a goddamn stud. And then unfortunately, his family got stuck during the quarantine in Italy for 3 fucking months.
Mm-hmm.
So Laziz has absolutely earned a pleasant trip to Abu Dhabi this time, in my opinion here. The problem is they put him in the octagon against a fucking world breaker in Warley Alves. That dude is scary fucking strong. And talk about hands of fucking steel. Warley Alvarez hits dudes, and it looks like he's got a phone booth in his fucking glove because it just destroys motherfuckers when he connects. The problem with that is that Laziz is so fucking quick. For a big dude, he's got such amazing fluidity and footwork. I want to say that they said that, if I remember correctly, they said that he's one of those fighters that in his youth did ballet to help his training, to help his flexibility, and now later on in life as a fighter, go figure, it fucking works great. I like Warley Alves, but I think this is a Laziz, again, a debut verification, if you will. I think this is going to prove exactly what we saw the last time he came out, that Laziz is a bad motherfucker and just needs a little bit more opportunity to shine so the world can know about him as much as some of us hardcores do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Laziz looked so good last summer. So good. Riding a pretty good win streak right now. He's incredibly fluid, very fun striker. Yeah, he's an all around really fun prospect. Alves, if he catches him, there's a pretty solid chance he's switching him off. But he's got to catch him. He's got to catch him before he gets caught. So that's going to be a really fun fight. I think the shorter travel time for Laziz and the familiarity in the arena over there in Abu Dhabi, I think it gives him a little bit of an advantage. So I'm going to give it to Laziz.
I don't have to even think twice about this. Laziz wins this. Look, when he fought, I'll say it, the rapist in his last fight out in July, I'll say it out loud because fuck him. Everybody thought he was going to get knocked out because said rapist is good at knocking people out. That wasn't the case. Last time I checked, said rapist got knocked clean the fuck out. And Aziz was doing everything right during that. Just dip, dodge, duck, dive, dodge. 5Ds. He had it down to a fucking science. Alvarez is too slow. Because, look, said rapist is a lot faster than Alvarez is. So, don't get me wrong. That power, though, can definitely switch him off. We've seen it more than one time out of Alvarez. Jesus Christ, I keep wanting to say Alvarez. Jesus fuck.
Right, I did too.
But either way, this is Laziz's fight to lose, in my opinion. To be honest, I think he's something special that I don't think we've seen the last of him. I think we're going to see a lot of good things coming out of him, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
I concur.
I agree. I fucking like Munir Laziz. I really fucking do, especially after him putting on the awesome performance last time and then learning the backstory about what a fucking great human being he was, and that how he was stuck away from his fucking family, his wife and kid, for months at a time because of the stupidness that's going on in the fucking world right now. Like, I want to see that dude get an opportunity to get some fucking good runs in, because I think he can make a hell of a fucking run, and he's a good human being, so he fucking deserves it.
Yep. I concur.
But that will bring us into, I will say, probably the best makeup main event we have seen in a long fucking time. Short notice fights are rarely ever as interesting as you would like them to be. They are almost never as interesting as the fight they are replacing. I think this one actually checks both boxes on that scale here. The fact that this is short notice means that neither guy had a chance to run a full camp. But the fact that we've got Chiesa versus Magny, and they're so fucking similar stylistically. They're ranked 8 and 9, so you can't possibly bitch about the numbers making it difference. These dudes are right on that same point career-wise, I feel. The only thing that really makes a difference in my book is that Chiesa's taken a little longer to get there because he's an OG Ultimate Fighter.
Mhm.
Just now, finally, really starting to crack the precipice of the attention that he should have been getting all along, in my opinion. But Neil Magny, for the relatively, in comparison, short amount of time he's been in the UFC, has taken out a fucking who's who prior to his USADA fuckery, because he did get fucked by USADA. He was one that had a confirmed tainted supplement, but had to sit on the fucking sidelines for a good hard while before they came to the fucking conclusion that he didn't do anything wrong and gave them the tainted fucking supplement that they quote unquote caught him with. So Neil Magny has definitely had a little bit of a detour in his career while Chiesa has been at it, but it really hasn't deterred him at all, because Magny came right back off the bullshit suspension and got right back into it and showed that Neil Magny is one of the most capable motherfuckers in the division. Chiesa, very, very much improving every single time we see him out. I think it's time that Chiesa is going to crack into the top 5. He has been working and he has been grinding and he has been training, and you can see it starting to pay off. And I like Neil Magny, but I feel like Chiesa is finally ready to collect his dues. Like, he has put his fucking time in. He has paid his fucking way there. He has grinded his way out, and he has spent time on the desk as well as in the gym. He has done everything the UFC has asked him for while improving himself as a fighter. And I think it's starting to really come together realistically. I feel like Micah Chiesa is starting to become that complete fighter that you have to be to really start to become elite, top ranked, and a legitimate name in the title contention. And I feel like if he can stay on that path and put that experience to work against Magny and come out with a W, it's going to be real hard to keep him out of the top 5 come Monday morning. And it's going to be real hard to say that he's not a legitimate contender in that conversation for the belt.
Oh, kind of agree with that to a point. For this reason, every time I've counted Neil Magny out, he's proved me fucking wrong.
Right.
When he first came back after that fuckery, he was fighting, who was it? Li Jinliang?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to get absolutely fucking destroyed, because at that point, Jin Liang was on a fucking tear. Nope.
Yeah, that was the peak. That was the peak of.
He came out and worked him over. He couldn't put him away, but he worked him over fucking hard. Now, he came in and he won 3 fights last year. Magny did. 3. I knew he was going to beat Martin, but I had a strange feeling that Robbie Lawler was going to get the best of him, and I was fucking wrong when I thought that. He got the best of Robbie Lawler in another decision. He's been a decision machine. Whereas Chiesa has not been.
Chiesa has been, though.
He's had a couple of decisions, but he's also had a couple of finishes lately. He's been on a good tear. And to be honest, the only thing that I ever see that holds me back from wanting to root for Chiesa, he does bitch a lot while he's fighting. I mean, absolutely fucking bitching. Oh my God, he's doing this. Oh my God, it's a fucking fight. Shut the fuck up and fight. Stop
he's
bitching.
Definitely he's got a hall monitor streak in him.
And look,
like, he's got to tell the ref whenever he sees anything that shouldn't be happening, in his opinion.
I
agree with that.
Part of that might be because you've had desk duty, so you're seeing all of those things. But in the middle of the fight, you should only be focused on one thing, the fight. Let your corners yell at the fucking ref. Well,
Right.
That's their job. Now, if it's something egregious where they can't see it, where you're inside and he's got a hand inside your fucking glove, yeah, by all means, say something. But for the most part, shut the fuck up, dude. Look, I remember watching him on The Ultimate Fighter, watching him lose his father.
Yeah, when he found out that his dad died and decided to stay.
And stayed and fought through it. The dude's a fucking animal for that reason. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with the amount of griping he does, because he's probably he stayed through something that
He's sacrificed.
You don't stay through. You generally
he sacrificed more than most fighters would ever consider.
Than most fucking human beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it, because you know what? You really don't get the proper time to grieve there. Not during that shit.
Not like that. No, fuck.
But dude, he fought through a fuck ton. And you're right, he is finally getting the credit he deserves. And I do think he can stop Magny. However, I'm hard pressed to count Magny out because every time I do it, he comes in there and just fucking completely dominates in decision fashion. What I'm waiting to see is the old Neil Magny come back and actually finish somebody.
Right.
When that happens, then I'll be like, okay, he's back. Right now, I still think he's just a shell of what he was before, because you know what, that long fucking layoff, that really fucked him. And it was pretty shitty if you saw that. But you know, it's in the past. It's in the past. Can't fucking change anything now. I'm glad he's back. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go against my will here. I'm going to say Chiesa wins. However, there's a strong asterisk there that says Neil Magny told me so. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there.
I can see that, and honestly, that's you hit the nail right on the fucking head. I'm not going to say that's the whole reason, but that's absolutely part of the reason why I'm confident in thinking that Chiesa is going to have this. Not that I'm overlooking Magny by any stretch of the imagination, but just like you said, since he's come back, he has yet to put that old school Neil Magny finish on somebody. And yeah, Chiesa's had decisions too, but not recently, not like Magny has. And that's going to be a big factor here.
I think we're still going to get a good 5-round war out of it, though.
I think it's going to be a fucking banger. I don't think it's going to be an easy night out for anybody, but I think Chiesa's about due.
I'm putting the heel hat on this one. I think Magny's got it. Yeah, since he's come back, I mean, he's been nothing but impressive, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. And as good as Chiesa, I think he is. If this goes to decision, I mean, Neil Magny's a decision machine. Like, that's been his bread and butter since he came back. And I think these two are that even of a fight that I think it will probably go to decision. I don't think either of them has the other guys. I don't think either guy has the weak spot figured out on the other guy. I think it's a short notice fight. Those short notice fights generally do tend to go to decisions, or they're over with real fucking quick.
Or their first round early finish.
Yeah, or they're real fucking quick because the other guy was really not ready for what was coming. But I think both guys are professional enough fighters that they're, you know, they'd be hard pressed to surprise the other one. And I think this does go to a decision. And I think that maybe that should be his new nickname, Neil the Decision Machine Magny. I think he can pound it out. I think he can pound a decision out of Chiesa. No matter what, it's probably going to be a great fight. These two are really, really close to each other. I mean, worst comes to worst, like they would flip-flop ranks. At the worst, at the best, the winner moves up into the top 5. I don't know who would get pushed out of the top 5 for one of them going in, but I mean, I could totally see it happening. Yeah, I mean, it should be a really great fight. It should be a really great fight. And I'm for a short notice fight, I don't think we could ask anything more. I really don't.
Right.
So
No,
he'll have to Magny by decision.
No, I think this is probably the best short notice main event replacement we have had in a long time, because we've had a couple over just the last few years where we've actually lost the main event in such a time that they had to throw something together to keep from losing the whole thing. But I think this is about the best replacement main event we've seen in a while, and I think it's going to be a hell of a banger. I don't think there is the chance that, you know, there's always a 1 in a million puncher's chance that somebody gets lucky and this goes, you know, over and 1. But I think this is going to be a war. I think these boys are going to grind it the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, in my books, this could be one of those early match of the year type fights where it's just an all-out war.
Going to be one that we set the benchmark with for the rest of the year for sure.
Yeah. And then, it gets forgotten about by the end of the year, but yeah, on the end of the year shows, someone always brings it up and you're like, oh shit, that
Right.
was a really good fight.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, this definitely has the potential to be that for sure. Excuse me. But that is all we have got for this particular episode, folks. So I do want to thank each and every one of you, whether you guys were here in the chat like DeMillan made it, or whether you guys are catching this on a replay. Either way, I appreciate you just the same. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoy what we do here on the I'm No Joe channel, give us a thumbs up. If you like what we do here, not just enjoy, if you like what we do here, subscribe and hit that little notification bell down there. We do this pretty much every damn week. If you love what we do here on the I'm No Joe channel, share an episode of the show. I'm trying to grow this damn thing. It's nothing complicated. Just tell your friends. That's all we ask. The other side of that coin, if you hate the bullshit that we get up to around here,
And that's a
we
lot of
understand.
bullshit.
We understand. It's justified. It's a lot of bullshit. Give us a thumbs down. We earned it, and we won't dispute it. But before we do get all the way out of here, I do want to give these gentlemen here just a moment to let you know if you need a little more info from either one of them, how you can get a hold of them. So, Golf T, if folks need to keep this conversation going, how can they talk to you after the show's over, sir?
Definitely Wednesday nights here on YouTube, 9:30 Central Time. Unfortunately, because of this stupid fucking Wednesday card being so goddamn early, we don't get to do a Fight Companion show. Well, I do some tasty mixing on Wednesday, which, whatever. It is what it is. I'll watch it at work. Fuck you, UFC. Fuck you, Dana White, very much. Someone hit me up on the Instagrams. There's one thing I know I probably missed because I had to show up late, unfortunately. Being a parent comes first, that kind of shit. But what were your guys' thoughts on the UFC finally bringing a crowd back? I'm a little bit excited, but quite a bit disappointed because I don't think I'm going to be able to hear the fighter corners or the fighters talking shit during the fight anymore.
Depends on how big the crowd is.
I said 2,000.
2,000, yeah. I mean, there'll be enough crowd noise then. So yeah, I mean, like WWE has kind of committed to just doing the crowdless shows for like forever.
For the
At this
foreseeable,
point.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've kind of gotten used to watching wrestling like that again. I don't like it nearly as much as I like it with a crowd. Just the crowd reactions bring something that you just can't get anywhere else. And that's kind of what I feel about the UFC. I've really enjoyed being able to hear the corners. Really enjoyed being able to hear like everything that's going on. But there's something about that ooh and ah that you get with the crowd. Like when something real gnarly happens, like there's just something about that. And it's going to be cool to hear. I hope that things go okay. I hope that things go okay with all this. I hope it's not a big spike. But yeah, I mean, there's just something about it. There's just something about that live crowd being present and cheering and booing and yeah, just having a good time. So I'm looking forward to it.
I look at it in two prongs. One, is this really crowds back, or is this pandering to the fact that they're in Abu Dhabi and those tickets started at $1,700 a piece?
Fuck, dude. That's like a quarter to us.
Well, no, I'm just saying for Dana's sake. Like, the UFC is making $1,700 times 2,000 plus, all the regular fucking concession stand shit that will be delivered to your little booths now.
Yeah.
So the UFC is getting right back into making money. But is it just because they're in Abu Dhabi where they know they can set $1,700 ticket prices? What happens when we get back to Vegas next month? That's when I'll make my real determination. But the thing about it being for at least UFC 257 here, I agree about the crowd noise, but for a different reason. I actually don't like hearing the corners. I like it just when we're watching the fights, but the sound really makes more of a difference for me in the actual physical contact of the fight. When there's a crowded stadium and a dude gets cracked and you hear the ah immediately, you know that dude got fucking cracked. Whereas if you've got two guys in an empty auditorium and one good belly slap sounds like you took a baseball bat to a fucking tree. It's not the same. Like, you get more auditory response in the empty stadiums off little shots than you do in even with like 2,000 people, and you land that good, clean, crisp strike that might not make the loudest clap noise, but based on the crowd sounds, you'll know that was a good shot. That's what I'm looking forward to.
For me, it's not, and I misspoke it a little bit. It's not so much the corners that I'm worried about. I'm going to miss listening to the fighters talk shit, because you could actually hear them talk shit to each other, which was fantastic. Not to mention the post-fight interviews with, you know, like our favorite little hillbilly said, I loved every minute of it, to hear his corner in panic mode the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
We're not going to get those same kind of fucking post-fight reactions anymore, which, hey, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to see crowd back as long as they do it in a safe manner. I hope they're quarantining everybody who's coming to the show, make them show up a couple days early, and, you know.
They are. I actually saw the thing earlier yesterday. You have to quarantine in your hotel with verification for a minimum of 4 days. You have to have a negative PCR test within the last 24 hours of the event itself. You also have to take another PCR test and get your temperature taken at the door, and make sure you wear your mask at all times in the arena, even when seated, even in a private booth. The only time you're allowed to take that mask off your face is literally to eat or drink, and when you're done, it has to go right the fuck back on. And if any of those conditions are not met, you can be kicked out with no refund at any point during the event. They're not fucking around.
Good.
That's good.
That's one of the only reasons I was okay with them having even any kind of fucking crowd in any capacity back here, is because, to their credit, Abu Dhabi doesn't fucking play. And they're not playing with the fucking crowd here, just like they didn't play with any of the fucking fighters over the last 8 months or whatever we've been dealing with this. I think it'll be all right.
So yeah, Wednesday nights, 9:30 Central, my channel.
So that being said, Mr. Fresh 03, if folks need to get a hold of you after the show.
Fresh03 here on the YouTube, youtube.com/Fresh03. You can find my one-shots at DIY Flavor Chaser and chefsflavors.com. All proceeds go to help the Humane Society. So if you want to help some furry friends, and by that I mean non-bearded fighters, we need to help our bald-faced fighters survive. Get them some litter, get them some kibble. That's what we do. That's what we do here on the I'm No Joe. This Friday we are having I believe we're having Danielle Jones, the voice behind the You Don't Know Nicotine commercials, is going to be on. We're gonna do a little DIY with her. So if you ever want to learn how to make bathtub e-liquid, come find me.
Hell yeah.
Viva
Thank you
la
very much for your time,
resistance.
sir. Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Appreciate both of you.
All right.
And if for some reason you guys want to check up on that babyface bitch who didn't make it to the show tonight, because I still love him, I'll still give him a fucking plug. RJ MMA Official on Instagram. Give him all the shit you can, and just remind him that we love him. We just love him more if he had a beard.
Yep. Speaking of the Humane Society.
Right. But that being said, we are going to call that all for this particular evening here. So thank you again, everyone who tuned in. And remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Have a great night, folks.
as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.